Let's go. It has been too long since we have seen and heard that video. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, Arvanauts, to a Saturday stream. It is November 30th, 2024. It is the last stream of November of 2024 for us, but it is a relaunch of sorts. It's the end of a month, but it is a relaunch for us of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. We are sponsored, as always, by Alligator Alley Entertainment, the maker of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, with Shadows and Twilight, but it is a very special episode because we are introducing several new players to the mix, and I'm very excited for that, and we're going to talk about how that works. This is going to be an episode that's going to be, there's going to be some, plainy-wainy, timey-wimey, transporty-warty stuff going on and all that business, so I'm looking forward to it. But before we get there, a couple of reminders about ways to support us on the channel. If you have not done so already, please follow us on the channel if you have not done so already. Please make sure to check out our YouTube if you haven't done so already. That is !ArvTube. And for those of you who are watching over on the YouTube channel, welcome and thank you so much for being with us. And please spread the word. That is always appreciated. And any subscriptions that we get there is a new record because we're sitting at a record high of subscribers over on YouTube. So every new subscription is a new high for us. So please do subscribe to us if you can. Discord is !ArvCord, where you can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter is !ArvTweets for as long as we stay on that hellscape. But we are increasingly trying to move towards Blue Sky. My hope is to have left Twitter entirely by sometime hopefully early next year, but the more followers that we get on Blue Sky, the easier it is to do that because I am trying to replace 1,200 some odd followers on Twitter. So doing that means the more you follow over on Blue Sky, the faster it will be and easier it will be for me to be able to make the switch entirely and just be on Blue Sky. So that is !ArvSky. Website for this is arvanelaron.com, and don't forget to check out both Hearthglow, which is my short limited run podcast focusing on the time between Return to the Forbidden Library and Beyond the Forbidden Library in my Forbidden Library universe. And also the Gen GM's show, which can be found, can be linked there and is on the Gen GM's YouTube channel as well, which is the GM tips show that I do with one Mr. Zach Clay, about whom more in a moment. So please check out both of those. We got long and short videos coming out now from Gen GM, so we're back in business there, and we just dropped a couple of new one new Hearthglow audio episode a few days ago. So definitely join us for those things. Again, arvanelaron.com for that. Financially, Arv Shop is the merchandise area where you can get stuff related to the various campaigns that we run on this channel, and also support us here and also get some swag for yourself. The Patreon is !ArvTreon, which currently is sitting at 90. We would love to get that into triple digits. It's so close. We're getting there. That's the deal. Hey, what's up, Hydration? Good to see you. Welcome back. So yes, please support the Patreon. Cool stuff for yourself and cool stuff for the channel. You can also, of course, subscribe to the channel. That is another good way to help us out. We're trying to hit a goal, which I set quite a while ago, to get to 150 subs. We're only about 6 or 7 subs off of that pace, so it would be amazing if we could get there and surpass that today. That would be really, really cool. And you get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch, and inspirations to help our tabletop players once you reach the tier 2 level of support or above. So please do support us over there if you can. On the publishing side, !Icarus, that's my graphic novel from Athos Arts. Library is my Tales and Tomes in the Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, which is also the maker of this campaign, Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. And of course, Greyshade, that is my Greyshade IP, Greyshade, Renegade, and Heretic, which are out now, critically acclaimed series of novels called the Grey Assassin Trilogy. You can get those from Athos at that link. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks, and you can pre-order the game, the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade, coming early next year, and so you can pre-order that now, because pre-orders are love, pre-orders are life, as somebody once said, who was very prominent, multiple Hugo winner, said on this very channel. So that's the deal with that. And let me see, carry the one, yes. And as always, !BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. !Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention, important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we will do so for others in the future as well. Now, we have got Expedition coming up tonight. Then we'll be off off Sunday, Monday. We will be back on Tuesday with, I believe it is Beowulf Age of Heroes with Tari Tunes, and I will be putting up all the schedule and the calendar stuff, hopefully doing my Patreon video and doing a bunch of things tomorrow, Sunday. I want to get that out of the way because this week coming is my last full week of class of the semester. Then the Monday after that is my last class, and then I have a week of finals and grading, and then just about past mid-December, we'll be done with that, and we'll be heading into winter break. And December is going to be a big month. We've got a Christmas Carol from the Air Vocalists. We've got a bunch of tabletop play, including more from this campaign. We have got the Patreon Field Chat Chosen Game of the Month. We've got the Gamebook Illustration Stream, and we have the Holiday Show featuring my family. And we also have the Game of the Year Show, where we talk about the games that I played, rank them, and talk a little bit about the channel in 2024, and, writing and things like that, and what things are looking like for 2025 to come. So that's the deal with that. One last note before I introduce these folks. Any cheers, any cheers that you give, official cheers through Twitch today, are going to be going to these players. I add them up, and once they are added up and reach a certain level, then I distribute them all to the players. And so if you wish to cheer them, I mean officially via Twitch is what I mean, then that will allow me to support the players here. It's not a whole lot of money, but it's something which is acknowledging the time and effort that they put into doing this. I'm very excited to have them as a group, and I appreciate it always when chat is able to get on board. So if you were so inclined, please feel free to do that. That would be lovely. Now, I am going to unmute myself and apologize unreservedly for anyone I interrupted because I couldn't hear them. And then I am going to unmute them. And last but certainly not least, I'm going to reveal, get ready for a new overlay. That's right. Well, it's not brand new. Just the names are new. And head over to reveal this. That's right. It is the crew. Some of whom, well, all of whom you should recognize one way or another, but some of whom you may recognize in relation to this particular campaign, and others of whom may have come from elsewhere. So here we are. We are ready with the half new crew. It's good to see everybody. I hope everyone is doing well. And yeah, let's get started. And now normally what I would do is I would ask everyone to introduce themselves and introduce their characters. This is going to be slightly different in that I'm going to ask the quote new players. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves for those who may not know them as well. And then they can mention the name of their character, but that's all, please. I don't want to say anything about the characters yet, because you're about to find out, chat, through the power of play, what exactly their characters are. So we're going to talk about that here. So I will begin with Rhiannon Held, who is at the top left of your screen. Rhiannon, it's good to see you. Rhiannon, we saw you last with Valorword here on the channel, and it was fun playing with you for that. And so Rhiannon is back with us. So first of all, thank you for being a part of this campaign. I'm very excited. And maybe just tell the folks a little bit, if they don't know who you are, about who you are and such.
Yeah. So Rhiannon Held, I write urban fantasy under Rhiannon Held, and then space opera under RZ Held. And in my day job, I am a professional archaeologist. I'm no longer the person who digs the holes. I am the person who edits the reports about what was in the holes, is what I like to say. And I play on another channel, Dungeon Scrawlers, which is authors playing D&D. I'm in the Isekai Realms game on that right now. And I'm playing Sataria Verban.
Outstanding. Yeah. Can you see why everyone's like, oh, an archaeologist who also writes space opera? What possibly would have any connection to this campaign? I can't imagine. Thank you, Rhiannon. I'm very excited. And again, chat, you're going to hear more from Sataria in just a little bit. But thank you, Rhiannon. Always a pleasure. And by the way, we will get links for these authors connected to a campaign command so that you can go and buy their books. Because, like, really, we would like you to buy everyone's books, except in the case of Zach. And for Zach, we just want you to hire him to be a pro DM and also
just to be clear, everyone, he's not, I don't have any books out to buy. He's not sliding me. It's okay.
I'm just saying that Zach's books don't matter. No, he doesn't have any books out.
For a second there, it's like buy everyone's books except for Zach.
Except for Zach, because he doesn't have any books. No, just hire him to be a pro DM. No, he just consults on the new DMG. No big deal. Like whatever, like this.
Yeah, buy the books I've consulted on.
There you go. That's the key. But anyway, so thank you, Rhiannon. Always a pleasure. And moving right along over on the square. I guess we'll do it. Let me do the two new folks this time. So I'll go normally I go horizontally. I'm going to go vertically this time. So that means right underneath Rhiannon on the overlay. And by the way, thank you to Shadowed Mage for the updated overlay. I appreciate that very much. Right below is, of course, LaShawn M. Wanick. And LaShawn was last seen on this channel a few years ago when she was a part of the one-off con that we did, a charity convention to benefit the Carl Brandon Society. This was like, I don't know, LaShawn, do you remember, was that like 2020 or something, or like in the year of our Lord, or
I don't remember.
2019? I don't remember what it was, but I, of course, have seen LaShawn quite a bit since then. But in terms of this channel, oh no, that's not true, because you were also here for Negocios, I think. You did a Negocios Infernalis. So you were, so you've been on before this. But they haven't seen you in other contexts. So please, same thing. Could you introduce yourself a little bit to those who don't know you as well?
Yeah, so my name is LaShawn M. Wanick, and I am a short fiction writer. I have short fiction published all over the place. So I'm kind of like Zach in that I don't have any books per se, but I have short stories in many anthologies that are out there. So I also am the editor of the short fiction magazine Giganotosaurus. We publish one story a month between 5,000 and 25,000 words. So you can go read the stories that are there in our magazine. So
including mine.
I was just about to say that. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I wish I could take credit for that. They're like, oh yeah, I know you because I public. Of course, I knew that all along. That was totally...
I'm really, really glad that LaShawn didn't reject me.
Yeah, I know. That would have
yeah, me too.
been very awkward.
Very awkward.
Yeah. No. Only winners on this channel. Only winners at all times. Only. But it's a great pleasure to have LaShawn with us. And you are playing today. Just the name, LaShawn? You are playing.
I am playing as Raven Galinar.
Raven Galinar. What could that mean? Is it related to Danilo Gallinari, former Celtics basketball player? No, not at all related, not in any way.
I don't think Raven cares about that.
Yeah, no. I barely care about it. I'm a Celtics fan. No, I'm very excited for what Raven gets up to, and we will again introduce Raven directly in just a few minutes. But thank you, always a pleasure, LaShawn. So glad that you've joined us for this. Okay, moving up to the next column. That is, of course, veteran now of this campaign, and that is Toya Kristen Finley. Good to see you, Toya. How is everything with you? How's life in the universe in your neck of the woods and so on? And you are allowed to say who you're playing and what their character is and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I was in Las Vegas for my first vacation of very, 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 very long time.
Nice.
Second week of November. And I am wearing the Omega Mart shirt, Know Your Cones, because I did the Meow Wolf art installation, which is basically like a ARG RPG thing. LaShawn has also written for Meow Wolf, so that's really, really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Super cool.
I have not written for Meow Wolf, but their stuff is outstanding. Anyway, I will be playing Nalik, who is also known as Nals Darkly, who is a human bard.
Very cool. And is about to be a little surprised about things that are happening, as is Dr. Draxus, but we'll talk about that. Maybe not actually. I mean, surprised-ish, but maybe nothing totally surprises Knowles. But we'll talk about that when we actually get there. Always a pleasure, Toya. Good to see you again, and it's good to see you, of course, Zach Clay as well. Last but certainly not least, also veteran to this campaign and our vocalist of Christmas present future yet to come, because we're going to be doing that next month. But it is good to see you, Zach. How's everything on your side of the country and in the left coast? And who are you playing today?
Well, speaking on behalf of the entire West Coast, we're doing all right. We're doing pretty good. I went to, speaking of sports, I went to a Warriors game for the first time recently, the San Francisco Warriors.
They're good.
Very good. Steph Curry couldn't play that night, but he still had to show up to work, so he was on the bench the whole time, and it was funny looking around that whenever the basketball wasn't happening, everyone in the audience was just staring down at Steph Curry, who was going there. But I mean, he's a legend. So
he is a legend. Yeah.
Anyway, just coming right off the back of Thanksgiving, some fun times with family, and other things that I'll be able to share in coming time. But life is good, and great things are happening, and I'm excited to sit here and play Esper Genesis / D&D in the Mysterious Peaks. My character, as somewhat mentioned already, is a Dendus Cybermancer, which is essentially, I'm a dude from space, space alien guy who used to be famous on the space internet for making content about science and space and star systems and galaxies and biology and astrophysics, even if he may not have known the most about any of those things. And now he's stranded on this planet, but is making the most of it. And that is, of course, Dr. Duraxis. And yeah, I'm excited to see what shenanigans we get up to today.
I am too. I was thinking about the fact, and the subscription numbers are just dropping because you haven't posted content.
Oh yeah, I've
and,
been
no
Wi-Fi
you haven't fed the
down here on
content
this
beast.
planet, man.
No,
Not
it's
feeding the algorithm.
Look, that's why my character is recording everything that we're doing.
You see
So
the
that
angry
one-
YouTube
man,
comments. Jiraxis,
moment
if
I'm
he
back.
cared about his fans, he'd be posting more. He obviously doesn't give a damn about any of it. Anyway, but it is a great pleasure to have Zach with us. And this, folks, these are the new crew members. Again, for those of you who missed this, Cat Rambo and Johnny Pippin have had to step away from the campaign. We wish them the best and are grateful to them for having played through Esper Genesis in the first portion of this campaign. So we wish them the best. But we are moving on now to the four of these folks. And I want to begin us, if I can, on a map. And it is the map that you all see before you, chat. And that is these four folks. I should mention that we will work on the whole new character art for people and like getting it all featured now. I have to talk to Rhiannon and LaShawn about that as well, but we'll one step at a time. First, we had to get rolling again. So, but I will begin by just sort of briefly summarizing what has happened to this point, and then we're going to talk about something that happens almost immediately after we see ourselves on this map. The former total members, that is, of the crew, consisted of two from this planet and two who were from space, from galaxy and the land beyond, the Silrain Arc, who crash landed on this planet, and that was Titus and Dr. Jiraxis, who crash landed on this planet, having been led here by a beacon, something which was indicating a massive, first of all, two things. One, a massive amount of some kind of sorium deposits, sorium being the main energy source used in Esper Genesis. But secondly, something coming from a place that basically a distress beacon from a part of the galaxy that should have no such thing. It is an uncharted part of the galaxy, but it is also a planet in which, as far as they know, no ships had really visited. So why exactly there was this sound and there was this beacon was odd. And so they were commissioned by someone to go find this out. You'll all be stunned to hear, if you're science fiction fans of some, regularity, that the ship's computers failed once they entered orbit, possibly because of sabotage. And their ship, called the Sunrider, ended up crash landing on this planet. They set out basically to try to find some help. Ended up saving an elvish mage, who I believe I have still here somewhere. He said doubtfully, although maybe not.
Elu Whisperwind.
Yeah, Elu. Well, no, and I wasn't Elu that I was thinking about. It was the. No, I don't have him. Anyway, they saved a man, is what I'm saying. From
We
maybe I
did.
have it in the cams only. Wait a second.
Totally did.
Darmuth, there we go. So I bring you back up there, sitting right next to Toya, but not actually in real life. That is Darmuth, who was saved from attack by these strange robotic creatures that turned out to be partly cybernetic and partly human. And they were in some ways apparently fused together in some mysterious way. They saved him, and he revealed that he had been basically taken and kidnapped, and that something weird was going on in the planet, that there was some massive political upheaval and the like, and he was trying to figure out exactly what that was, and led them to a place where they ended up meeting the other two major people that were part of the campaign, and that was Fob and Nalik, who began in the city of Camria, the city which floats overhead. This is a city which is linked by air bridges and which is very much a believer in technology and magic technology. And everything was great. They were celebrating their anniversary of having become technologically magically enlightened when, as sometimes will happen, everything went straight to hell. There was a massive attack upon some of the civilians, and most notably, a person of some renown was killed in front of everybody else. And it turned out to be the brother of the aforementioned Elu Whisperwind. This one I will move because I don't want to just cover Toya's face. There we go. Elu Whisperwind, who is right there, who, as it turned out, she had been a member of the Cambrian Guard. And the Primarch, the one who was the leader of Cambria, who had been seen less and less in public, apparently has been somehow either enslaved to or become deeply influenced by this group of cultists called the Servants of the Light. They were the ones who ultimately executed Elu's brother. They were also the ones who tried to attack and kill the civilians. The members of the party that were up top basically managed to stop some of this, but not all of it. And they ended up being on the run from those very same forces. Nalik and Fob, played by Kat originally, managed to escape and get down to the surface of the planet. And it was there that they met the other two, Jaraxxus and Titus, and the four of them linked up to travel to a place where they could get some assistance, where Elu Whisperwind's parents lived in the shadow realm of Celis. They set off through the Badlands. A bunch of stuff happened. I'm not going to summarize all that. You should check out the VODs if you want to. There's a lot there. This is day 30 after all. But once they got through all of that, they finally managed to get a portal into the shadow world of Celis where Elu's parents live. And indeed, her mother and sister were still there, but her mother was there and not initially her sister, because it turns out her sister was trying to find out what was going on in Celis. You see, Celis had its own problems of its citizens being kidnapped and taken. There were citizens of Celis disappearing, and these are, by the way, Twilight elves, elves who retreated below the surface hundreds of years ago after a terrible cataclysm had consumed much of the planet, or at least had fundamentally altered, let's say, much of the planet. And so they had retreated to below the surface, where they thought they were in contact with their elders who were trapped beyond the veil. What the party discovered when they got to Celis and did a bit of investigation is, you might think that they have been actually talking to their elders, but in fact who they have been talking to is an evil telepath known as Fizelkis, a man who, well, not a man, a creature, who has been responsible for gradually, for some unknown purpose, bringing these adherents, basically corrupting them, and then bringing them over to his side of the veil. The party managed to fight off some of these on the Celis side of the veil, and then managed after some time to be able to travel down to a place where there was a breach, basically a place where they could find where this shadowy energy has been coming through and corrupting Celis and allowing people to be taken. The party made their way down into the complex, and now I will come back to the map that I was showing you all before, and in that complex they found themselves facing what looked like these strange kind of mirrors with runes on them and several odd electrical devices. And they were just about ready to go check more of that out when they decided that first they would look at the eastern door here that you see. That's right here. And they traveled through the eastern door to discover a pool of dripping water. And Fob was coming up to that water when suddenly a massive living wave rose up from the water and prepared to attack. And that was where we paused. That, by the way, was all the way back in July. So I won't usually give it a recap that's that long, but I wanted to give people a bit of stuff for the benefit of the new players too. So at the very beginning of this, all of you, including Jaraxxus and Titus, Nulls, and Fob, see this wave rising up. But as the wave rises up, it touches the ceiling. And I have mentioned quite a bit about how there was all of this electrical circuitry and all of this stuff interwoven among the walls here, that part of it looks like kind of mirrored fantastical stuff, but a lot of it looks like it's just straight out circuit boards and things like that that sort of surround this area. And when the water elemental, which is clearly what this is, this wave of water, stretches itself out and touches the ceiling, there is a massive surge of energy throughout the entire room. And it blinds everyone, and there is a massive shock wave that runs through the room. And that brings us to Sataria. Sataria, I want to start with you because You, as has been your wont, have been quietly reading in a room that is towards the top of this cliff-based library. You were on the top of this library in a room, and it is known as the Protectorate because it is a room that is essentially isolated from the outside because only the most trusted researchers are allowed to go in here to use some of these sacred magic books and texts. You are sitting at a table in this circular room, which is surrounded by these books, and out above you, or in front of you, I should say, there is this curved window that looks out on the land beyond. It is the mountain range known as the Ice Darks. You are in, of course, the city of Renverith, and you are sitting in a magic school that is known as Astralfall. Astralfall is an unconventional magic school, I would say it's fair to say, which rivals even the famed Hearthglow Academy. Although, let's be honest, nothing really rivals Hearthglow. Okay, that was sorry. Please see the podcast. Okay, anyway, but it does rival, however, the famed Hearthglow Academy. And the reason it's unconventional is that it accepts people from all different walks of life and from all different disciplines and from all different backgrounds to be a part of the mix. So what I want to ask you, Sataria, first of all, is sitting in this room, how is it you think that you came to be enrolled in this school? Do you think you were recommended for it by parental figures? Did you come to it on your own? Did you wander through the land and suddenly go, that school, I can get in there? How did you get it? How did you get into it, do you think?
Either family or mentor figures, I think. Because I was figuring she's a divine soul sorcerer, and so she's had the healing aspect to her magic from the beginning. And I figure as soon as family and or people in your town notice that, then they start asking for things from you. And she likes that. She's one of those people where she's like, I have a purpose, I have a direction, this is great. So I figure she had a pretty like sort of straight and narrow kind of walk of life, and so like people suggested that like, you know, she's really good at this, she should go get more training, and she's like, okay, clearly this is what I should do, I have no questions. So it was just that simple.
I see. This is now sounding like the plot of Hamilton. This is like, get this person to the mainland and let's get anyway. Very cool. Okay, so how long do you think you've been at the school, Sataria? Like, are you you're a trusted researcher, but that doesn't, so you probably couldn't get there as a first year, but you wouldn't have to be a getting ready to graduate unless you want to be. Like, where would you put yourself in your schooling?
I mean, well, would it be like multiple years before you graduated? Okay.
Yes. It's usually about, I would put it sort of, think of it as like a college to graduate school. So people go anywhere from like 5 to 7 years there basically to complete their schooling.
Let's say 3. So she's like deep in it and she hasn't started worrying yet about what she's going to do when she's done.
Yeah.
She can just like be in the now.
Just start to think about internships. Yeah. Okay. So, good. Well, so sitting at the top, and then one last question. I promise I won't just ask questions. Which is, what would you say has been your particular, as you're in your third year, you are now presumably beginning to focus in on what your ultimate sort of capstone project will be, because the interesting about Astralfall is that the reason they're unconventional is they do regular classes, but much of what they do is sort of practical lived experience. So you have already been out in various magical expeditions, you've risked your lives and set like things that basically most schools are like, what? We're not going to do that. We can't afford the insurance. Like they don't, they're like, no, it's fine. Because they think that their practical training is what makes them better and more likely to attract students and also provide good long-term outcomes. So with that in mind, is there a particular subject that you've been focused on researching as a divine soul sorcerer, would you say, since you arrived?
Maybe something with like bedside manner, because Sataria doesn't have one. Like, not that she's negative or bad, she just doesn't talk to the person.
Okay.
So they feel sort of like a specimen because he just comes in and like doesn't talk. So I think seeing some kind of project about like what's the value of bedside manner. Does it have to be the same person? Can you have like a team, like, or do I really need to learn this? Maybe I do.
Okay.
Like I think something in that.
I got you. So, so you are in this protectorate then, in this top closed off room, and you are currently preparing for what, in the sort of real world vernacular chat we might call preparing for your comprehensives. And so one of those involves looking through these books and trying to gather information about empathetic connection to patients. And so you are basically reading as we speak. There is a Dr. Fransones's book, which is famous and it's known about empathetic connection to patients. And there's like volume 1, volume 2, and it's a lot of sort of like field work. And a lot of it probably seems a little odd to you, Sataria, because it's all this stuff that's like, you know, this person is like really hurt. And the obvious way to deal that if they're bleeding out is to like, but it's like, well, you know, consider that you're treating the whole person, not the wound. And you're like, really? Because like, why? You know, that sort of thing. And so, so you're reading about this. It is, you know, you may be happy to learn that you are allowed some tea if you so desire in there. So you've got some tea, and of course the whole room is magically lit. There are no flames allowed here for obvious reasons, not magical or otherwise. But there is regular magical lighting. So there are Magitech driven light sources all around the room, spaced evenly, with the window, as I say, looking out at the mountains. And Sataria, as you're sitting there reading, you suddenly, I'd like you to make a perception check for me, please. And we'll talk about what you do or don't see.
First roll.
First roll, that's right.
Let's see if it goes to.
There we go.
Properly. There we go. 18.
18, nice. Okay, so yes, as you're sitting there, you hear this, what could only be described as a slight buzzing sound, like a zzz, 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 zzz. And it's coming from, it feels very distant, like it's not in the room. It almost sounds like it's outside the window, which seems impossible because the room's soundproof. It's called the Protectorate. But you are nonetheless hearing this buzzing sound, and it doesn't sound like it's right in this room.
Huh. Well, I mean, my first impulse would go up to the window and then put my hand on it to try to get the sound conduction to see if it's outside.
When you do that, yes, you can just faintly feel like a static electric charge, almost like just slightly. It's not painful or anything, but it's definitely is tingling. Your fingers are tingling as they touch the window. And as you look out at the ice dark mountains, which are always they're foreboding, but you're very familiar with them. They're also sort of comforting, I would think, because they're always there. Like for all of the crazy stuff that happens, the ice dark mountains, black and angular and strong and indefatigable, right? They're always there against the sky. But as you look out at them, you can feel that slight tingling in the fingers, and you think that the mountain range itself might be slightly shimmering.
That's weird. I mean, but that's not my pay grade. So maybe I should go downstairs and find somebody who deals with mountain stuff.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I would say geology, but that's what they're made up of. I don't know that a geologist knows what happens to the whole mountain. So
that's fair. That's fair. So, okay. Now, the one thing to note is that there is a trapdoor, of course, which leads up to the Protectorate. And right below is a person who is known as the person who's supposed to guard the Protectorate from people coming in. Now, realistically, the person guarding this room is a man known by the students popularly as Old Hob. Old Hob is a very, very nice fellow, or at least was about 100 years ago. This is a dwarf who is well past his sell-by date. That's a terrible thing to say about Old Hob. But the reality is that although Hob is, nice, he's pretty close to deaf. Like, I mean, he's like very hard of hearing, and also is very much about the rules. Like students, like there were rumors that he was born in the mountains like before Astrofall came to be, and then just sort of they built it around him, and then he just stayed. Like that's the rumor. So like he's sitting in his chair like right below the trap door. So to get his attention, you'd have to like knock on the trap door if you want to do that.
I mean, something's happening. I don't really want to be trapped up in the tower when that happens. So I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. I would like you to make a strength check, please, to see how loud you can be with this pounding.
Not very, but let's see.
Well, I think we're looking at a 6. So you're like, like this very quiet, right? So there is just this, you think, and I won't make you do another perception check. If you listen like very down at the door, you can just, Satara, hear a you hear what might be the telltale sounds of snoring below the trapdoor. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I got some of these them there cantrips.
True.
And I do have message.
Okay.
So I was just checking. I can cast it through solid objects if I'm familiar with the target.
Okay. Yeah, you're familiar with Old Hob for sure.
So I'm going to point 120 feet. So I think that's enough. So I'm going to point down, and say, I'm coming down, Hob. So there's something going on.
Okay. I wonder if like the person getting a message needs to be awake to receive the message. I wonder if the message comes through. Okay, so you hear this as you're listening. You hear this. What? Whoa! Someone needs help up there. What's going on? Actually, what's going on is what you would actually hear.
Hang on it again. Coming down.
It's not time yet. You got another at least an hour. Are you at death's door?
Look out the window.
I don't have any windows on these stairs, lass. You know that. It's down at the room and I'm not allowed to leave. What's the problem? You'll do fine. You're very good at the book things.
Well, I mean, okay. So, mountains doing weird things. A lot of people are going to see that. So I don't know that I need to be the one to warn anybody. Sort of diffusing responsibility here.
Okay.
So I guess I can go back to the window and watch.
Okay.
With a clear conscience.
So when you go back over to the window and watch, you now see that the thing which began as a shimmer has now become a definitive waver. The mountains are now sort of like very hard to focus on. And there is, you also see coming from or over the mountains, what feels like this rapidly darkening fog, which is almost onrushing towards the Protectorate windows.
That's bad. I would say. Fog bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think try again, banging on the trapdoor, saying, something's coming. Something dangerous is outside.
If you didn't study as well as you thought, you don't have to make up anything, lass. It's fine. Your exam isn't even for another several weeks. What exactly is wrong, you think?
There's a dangerous fog. I don't know what it is.
A fog? In the room?
Outside. It's coming.
Well, right. Well, wait a minute. And you hear this doof, doof, doof. And you hear the heavy footsteps of old Hob walking away down the staircase, apparently. And you wait there for, I don't know, 10 minutes. No, 30 seconds. Probably about 30 seconds to a minute, and then you hear doof, 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 doof. Are you daft? Everything's totally normal out there. The ice dark's standing just as they always do. What fog?
Huh. Well, if I'm seeing things that aren't there, then I should get down to a healer.
But you want to leave now?
Yes.
But you won't be able to get back up into the Protectorate for at least 3 months.
Oh, he makes a good point.
It booked out.
I mean,
those of us with graduate degrees know what losing those carols in the library are like. You don't
I mean,
lose them.
the A+ student, like,
Yeah.
it's a hard decision. I think she goes back to the books, and
Does
she's
she?
like,
Okay. Like tries to not look.
I don't see anything.
Okay.
If I
When
don't
you go
see
back
the fog is not real.
the fog is not real. If I don't see the fog doesn't see me. When you get back to the table and you look down at your book, you sort of try to focus on that. The buzzing that I mentioned before now has become very noticeable. It's a zzz, 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 like the sound of like it just sounds like this sort of buzzing, not of insects, but almost a sort of an electrical current kind of buzzing. And as you're looking down at the book, you're sort of, trying to concentrate. And then you notice that the words are sort of swimming as well. And when you look back up, you see that the fog is now right outside the window. So it's like right up on top of the Protectorate. Bzz, 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 bzz.
I mean, I'm staying here, but it's not doing any good. But what if I run my finger along the words?
When you run your finger along the words, you can feel that same tingling that I mentioned on the windows. You now feel that on the words as well, like on the page of the book. And it almost, as you're watching, the words and letters move out of the way of your finger, as if you were basically shifting them out of place. And as they pass by, the words sort of like roll over and then like reform on the other side of them. Like this.
That's weird.
It is.
I mean, this is, fodder for not mine, somebody else's capstone project, obviously. When the books go all like woobly, and you haven't been drinking.
It's true. It's true.
I'm not getting anything done, so I'm gonna sadly close the book.
Okay.
And then back to the banging on the door.
When you close the book, Satari, and you look up, you realize that it's not easy to see the door because the fog is now inside the room. And you are now surrounded by this fog, and the buzzing has gotten exceedingly loud now. And you feel that tingling sensation that I mentioned, not just in your fingers, but all along and up and down your body. Your vision is kind of shimmering a little bit as well. So when you get up and walk over, you feel as if you're almost walking through, if you could imagine the sensation of walking through static. It feels as if you're walking through this sort of tingling, almost, needles in your legs and arms, like from your arms falling asleep and your blood coming back to that area. It feels like that as you're walking over to the door. And when you begin to pound on the door, the sound is a kind of echoey, right, as it's this buzzing sound. You also are getting a very bad headache, Sataria.
Oh no. Well, I think this is the point, I've pounded on the door. This is the point of curl up and wait for it to pass.
Okay.
Question mark? It's gonna pass,
Okay.
right?
Okay. When you curl up, the buzzing gets louder and louder, and the fog sort of closes in on you. And there is one moment then where everything, your vision and everything around you goes dark. Your head pounds, and then there is a kind of screeching sound and a like a massive surge of buzz, like an electrical charge that you feel sort of shock your body. As you are losing consciousness, there is a moment, though, where you see a figure that I will describe later on. It is someone looking at you kind of with their head tilted. I will describe who that figure reminds you of a little bit later. But now I want to talk to Raven. Raven, you are on a ship. And you are on a ship that will not work with the willow and the light music. So hold on a second. All right, give me... let's see. How about Space Explorers, Jellyfish in Space, Starforge Space?
Weirder Things 2?
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, man, how did I forget that? That's a good
classic.
Call. It's a classic. No, that's a good call, but no, we're good with Starforge Space. Okay.
Cool.
So, Raven, you were on this ship, and I am curious, Raven, about this is a ship known as the Final Chance. It is a ship which is not super well put together. It is a ship which has more or less been held together by, sealing tape, spit, and a prayer for, many parsecs now. And the crew is what you might call a skeleton crew. That's almost literally true because the crew itself is composed of a number of silent exoskeleton-wearing people that do not talk to each other very much, except just to sort of express basic things like, turn up that dial, or, go close that door, or, worry about that airlock or whatever. And they don't ask many questions. And the only real exception to that are the captain, whose name is Captain Ramus. Captain Ramus, who strikes a very dashing figure, wears a ridiculously ancient hat that sort of rakishly tilts down along one eye, that is completely pointless and totally annoying when he has to take it off so that he can put on like a regular spacesuit, because it wouldn't fit inside the helmet, and all that. But he insists on wearing it on a regular basis. He has the handlebar mustache and the whole thing. And it was he that you signed on with back at the port probably, 2 month cycles ago, you would guess. And so, Raven, my question is, when the captain said to you, in his typical way, noticing you coming up to speak to him about possible employment, and looked at you and roared — he has a tendency to roar in general — and just said, "All right, then, why exactly do you want to come on board the Final Chance?" What did you tell him? Why should he have brought you on board the ship?
Actually, before I do that,
Yeah.
I should probably do a perception check on him.
Okay. Well, what are you trying to find out? Are you trying to figure out what he's all about? Because if that
How
would be
much I should tell him?
insight, then I need an insight check. Yes.
Yeah, I should do an insight check.
Okay.
And you have to remind me how to do insight checks.
Oh,
It's been a long time.
That's fine. It's a wisdom-based check, and it should say on your D&D Beyond character sheet, if you have the skill, you might just be able to just click on it.
She's using Espergenesis.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, just a PDF character sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, you have your skills column on the right, LaShawn?
Yeah.
You see insight there?
Yeah, give me a moment. Find it first of all.
And to see if you're proficient in it, and
which I think you are.
I would imagine you would be. Yes, but
yeah, I think so. So wisdom.
Yeah, what's your insight bonus?
1. Oh wait, insight. Plus 3.
Okay. Yeah, because proficient, right? Okay. So then it's the D20 plus 3, and that's the check you're making.
D20 plus 3. Okay, give me a moment. Oh. 20. 9 plus 3, so
Aha.
9.
This 9. Well, this fellow seems like a loud, brash person who has just demanded of you as to why he should hire you. Which is pretty much what you heard him say. You don't. I mean, you will say that if this guy is subtle, he conceals it very well. This is not a person who apparently wants to avoid being noticed. If anything, he would prefer if everyone noticed him. Just to jump out of game for a minute, everyone in chat in here knows about what Captain Morgan looks like on the front. You know, the guy who puts his knee up on the bottle of, right? That's this dude, basically. You know, so he is not subtle. So far as you know, Raven, there, you know, he's just asking you why he should hire you for the final chance.
Because I can bend things with my mind, and you can use someone like that on your ship.
Bind things with your mind, or bend things with your mind? Well, you mean like bend steel? I need people to bend girders and things like that. You mean things like that? You're going to bend the hull of the ship? It's already bent. And he points at the ship, and you see all these like dents and like dings in the outside nose cone and stuff.
Sure, absolutely. I can do that quite easily.
And he kind of looks you up and down. He's like, well, where'd you come from originally? You're not coming on to do any of these secret inspections, are you?
Oh, no, that's not me. Not at all. No. Never.
He kind of looks you up and down. He says, all right. And then he kind of looks at the ship and looks back at you. And then he says, hypothetical. And he says very loudly, spit flying. And he says, hypothetical. Let's say that you're on the middle of, we're flying along in the final chance, and suddenly there's a massive impact because an asteroid has hit the outside of the ship, and all of a sudden you see it's bending in, about to destroy you and the crew. What would you do to save us all?
All right, before I do anything, I'm going to make a persuasion check.
Okay.
So
again, you can look at that. Persuasion is charisma based,
Yep.
But it should say.
Yep.
What are you trying to persuade him take me on, or persuade him to
Yes,
stop
pretty
asking you
much.
questions?
Pretty much.
Stop
yes.
asking me hypotheticals.
So
Let's
10 plus 5, so 15.
15. Okay, that sounds promising. What do you actually say to him, and we'll see what he says given that score.
Hypothetically, your men will be safe with me on board. Take me on.
He kind of growls a little bit, and then he literally does a circuit around you and kind of looks at you, and he's like, all right, so far I've had at least 5 applicants for this job. Now, Raven, you noticed maybe 1 applicant for the job who was a rather sad-looking person. Possibly it could have been maybe a Dendis, you're not 100% sure, who kind of staggered away. You think they might have been drunk and thought that the ship was like the pleasure boat cruise they were supposed to be getting on instead. But anyway, he says, I've had 5 of you so far that have applied. Well, and he kind of looks at you and says, all right, be aware that your salary isn't going to come until we make our money, and that only happens if we get clear of the authorities. If you see strange boxes coming on board the ship, you don't ask questions. If you see strange people coming on board the ship, you don't ask questions. And if people ask you questions, you don't give answers. Is that all clear?
That's all fine. So I do want to mention, though, one more thing that can probably sway you even more. I used to be a doctor, so I still have doctor skills if you need a doctor on board.
Oh, you're a healer, are you? Well, maybe. We lost our last medic when they got too drunk and passed out in their own wine, and they didn't make curfew, so we left him behind. So since then, we've been looking for a new one. Well, maybe you're the right one for the job. We'll see. Yeah, exactly. If you see something, say nothing. Exactly. You see something, say nothing.
I'm fine with that. Just let me on board, and I promise you, your men will be safe with me.
Raven, he nods and then steps aside and with a flourish welcomes you to the final chance. And as you are coming up to the ramp of the final chance, you might notice behind you. Actually, let me have you make a perception check to see whether you notice something.
Okay.
You would trust your entire well-being to a healer refer to themselves as having doctor skills. Well, yeah. Ooh, look at that.
19.
19. Yeah. When you are on the ship, you see, or getting on the ship, you can see two sort of well-dressed, officious looking and clearly uniformed guards that are talking to several others in the space dock where you are, who have been sort of chatting with each other and talking to people and sort of looking at your ship. And so there are people who are kind of like, a couple of people they're talking to are kind of pointing in this direction. And Raven, you recognize them as guards from the Lorendi Imperium.
Okay. Well, I jump on board and tell the captain, we should go now.
What's the problem? Why?
Let's just say I'm probably being followed. So if you don't want your ship to be boarded, like right now, I suggest you cast off as soon as possible.
Are you telling me you've brought contraband aboard the ship?
Oh, no, I did not bring contraband at all.
Really? None? Like any you could share? Maybe a little bit?
None. None.
Fine, I'll deduct it from your salary. All right, cast off, all of you. And the skeleton crew literally sort of trundles on board. The ramp comes up, and the final chance lurches out of dock as the Lorendi Imperium guards are coming up. And you can just see through the plastisteel window that leads access to the outside, Raven, that there is some sort of gesturing and like yelling wildly at the ship. And the captain, as he sort of looks through the window, chuckles to himself and he says, well, it's a good thing they don't require authorization to depart. Not that the intercoms really work in any way. All right, well, you better get down to the engine room and make yourself useful. There's a section down there, an extra room that you can find. You can set up shop there for your medical stuff. I think we got some extra Band-Aids up front. You can ask some of the first mate, if you will. Now, the first mate, by the way, is a member of the so-called skeleton crew. And whenever you ask the first mate for anything, their usual inclination is to just... or, right? Like, that's pretty much all. So, you know, it takes a little while for you to ask a question, but it turns out that apparently what Captain Ramus was referring to is what you would describe as sort of the equivalent of a broom closet. Like, there's a couple of crates in there, and there's, like, maybe what looks like an old ratty broom that's seen better days and, you know, things like that. It's got enough room barely to be a closet, so you can kind of set up you don't get the impression that there's a separate place for you to, like, bunk down. So it's like a medical place and also your room. But it is better than, as they say, a kick in the head or being taken into custody by the Lorendi Imperium. So, and so you have been with this crew now for, how long would you say that was, Raven? Have you been on the ship for a couple of months? I think I said a couple months, but I should ask you. Do you think you've been on there a couple of weeks, couple of months? How long would you say you've been on the final chance?
I would say about a month.
Okay. So you've gotten used to the routine. It's not super exciting. There are a lot of mysterious crates that you don't ask questions about. And you've gotten used also to having to slightly, the gravitometer on board the ship doesn't work quite right. So it's always listing slightly to the left. So you've gotten used to having to like balance your body. So you're always like walking slightly leaned over the other direction and passing by the skeleton crew. But just at the end of the month, Raven, you awake, pushing several blankets out of the way that have fallen on top of you because there's only so much room to stack stuff in your broom closet / hospital. And you've moved it out of the way, and there is, as you are waking up, a sort of a slight buzzing sound, like a zzz, 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 Now, I should note that there's often buzzing sounds on the final chance, circuit boards shorting out, light fixtures that don't quite work right, doors that half open and then get stuck and then occasionally close rapidly. You have to keep your eyes and ears open on the ship. But this seems different. It seems to be all around you, for one thing, and even coming from the floor, the bed, and it's this sort of weird, like I say, a buzzing zzz, and a slight feeling of almost static electricity in your body as you wake up.
Okay. So, I'm gonna push myself out of the broom closet / office / my bunk room and make my way up to the main area.
Okay, like the bridge of the ship type of thing.
To the main bridge.
Okay.
And what's the other crew doing?
So as you walk past, you see several crew that are sort of tending to their tasks as usual. They generally ignore you for the most part, but you do notice that they're acting a little oddly today, because as you are moving up to the bridge, instead of just, standing aside as you walk by or, kind of like, giving way as you pass, as you pass by, every one of them, as you're walking by them, is following you with their eyes. So every one of them is just sort of silently watching as you make your way.
That's not creepy at all.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Not at all.
Okay.
But they don't stop you. And when you get to the bridge, you're able to signal and the bridge opens. And you can see that, as per usual, the bridge has its complement of 2 helmsmen. There are 2 navigation skeleton crew members on the outside. And then Ramus himself with his legs slung up on a chair. He has had the command chair redesigned with this strange, what looks like red velvet cushioning. And so his legs are slung over one arm as per usual, with his large leather boots extending and his hat kind of casually thrown back on his head. And as you come in, he's saying, right, well, I don't care about that. You tell them that we're going to get to their protocols just as soon as we get the chance. But in the meantime, we've got perfect accessibility to this system, so we've got all the right permits. And then I want you to, and then he drops his voice, he's like, and then as soon as they cut the connection, I want you to hit 6 warp and be out of here before they breathe, all right? And then he says, all right, so that's the deal with these protocols. So in other words, it seems like a typical day on the bridge of the final chance, except that this buzzing for you is getting worse. And you feel this tingling in your body and the weird sort of like, it just the ship feels slightly off balance, even more than normal, I mean, as you're walking.
Okay. So I'll talk to Captain Ramus. Captain Ramus, is anything strange happening right now?
Oh, Raven. Oh, no, it's just the typical, stupid protocols that we've got to get by, as if the Silrain Ark don't have enough of them already. No, it's fine. We just have to convince them that we're a ship that is, they're cross-registered. I think I registered us as the last chance, the second chance, the only chance, games of chance. I get a little confused, Well, I think that I may have used the 5th handle in the 3rd system, and they're not happy about it. What are you doing up, though? It's late. I would have thought you'd been in bed by now.
Well, I don't know if the other ship is doing something, but I'm hearing a weird, loud buzzing. Can you hear that?
A buzzing?
Or is it just me?
And he kind of like lifts his head and he's like, a buzzing? And he kind of like, and he kind of, do any of you hear this buzzing? And all 4 in the crew, in the bridge crew, they all just, no, they didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any buzzing. It was probably just the circuit shorting out. It happened the last time. You had to go fix the light panel, you remember? Maybe it's that. You feel the hair on your arms now, Raven. Actually, I'm I believe Lorendi have hair on their arms, he said doubtfully. Anyway, the equivalent, standing on end, almost.
Something's happening. I don't know what it is, but there's something really weird going on.
Look, Raven, perhaps you just had a little too much. Look in front of you. Do you see anything there but space? And he points to the windows that are at the front of the bridge, the nose cone leading out. And you see, Raven, very clearly what looks like a bright, jagged rift in space, which is multicolored and seems to be coming towards the ship.
Okay, so you're not seeing this at all.
What, space? I see space all the time.
Okay, Captain, I'm gonna level with you. I am very much. I have psychic powers. There is a rift right in front of us that is coming our way. And it's heading right towards this ship.
A rift.
A rift. I think you need to, I don't know, pull away now before it hits us, but you need to trust me and you need to go, like, right now.
Raven, you're my medic. If I need I can't. Are you sick in the head and I need a medic to help my medic? Is that all right? Which direction do you want us to go? Up, down, left, right?
What is the rift doing?
It's just like rapidly approaching her position and getting larger, of course, because it gets closer.
Krug, go back. Just backwards as fast as you can.
All right,
whatnot, but we need to go.
All
right
back
now.
full. All back full. Let's humor her, all right? And the ship, you can feel the ship slowing down, and then starts to back up. But the rift, Raven, is accelerating faster than the ship is backing up. And he says, "All right, are you happy now? Now we're backing up directly. If you make me go through that security line, we're already going maximum."
Faster, dude.
He stares at you. Make a persuasion check for me.
Okay. 5 plus 3 is 8.
Is 8. He's like, "Are you out of your mind? I'm not going to go faster. We are going fast. We're not going to turn around and go the other way. Do you know what it took me to get through security the first time and how many crates I had to jettison? You know, there's only so much that space jellyfish go for these days." And as he's saying this, like the rift is just like right on top of the window, basically. And you don't see anyone else reacting to this but you, except that as the rift sort of enters the bridge, and it passes through the bridge, you have this strange experience of watching as Ramus is like, "I can't believe I got a medic that's sick themselves," and then his voice gets, and this gets very distorted. His voice gets distorted, and the light sweeps over you, Raven. You get this terrible splitting headache, and this buzzing sound fills your ears. And the brightness of the light almost overwhelms you. And then you are somewhere else. Nulls and Dr. Jaraxxus, you are watching as this water elemental swoops up. And Jaraxxus, since you're in the room here, this little hallway, you get the best sort of angle on Fob here, because Fob is taking several steps back from the water elemental, but as it touches the top, there is this massive surge that I referred to, this massive surge of white light, and you see the outline of Fob sort of become silhouetted almost against the brightness of the white surge or explosion or whatever it is. And then Fob is gone. And now you are looking at someone very different. Curled up on the ground in the fetal position. you see someone who is about to describe herself for you physically. And I will tell you, Sataria, that you are on the cold stone ground that is decidedly not the ground of the Protectorate, in a damp room, and there is the sound of a roaring rush of water and what you think might be several beeps from somewhere in the room, although you don't want to know what that's about. But you are, as you sort of open your eyes, you see the sort of dampness around you. What do you look like?
So she's a half elf, more towards the human side of being a little bit shorter, sort of more curvy, very sort of like heavy hips, and light skin, and then very light hair, in a not a very human way. It's not really gray, it's not really white in a human sort of white. It's just sort of this light kind of platinum kind of shade.
Okay.
And that's back in a very sort of sensible braid, and her ears stick out a little bit, but not in a sort of like, look at my ears elf sort of way, or kind of like, I'm trying to hide them. It's just something that she doesn't seem to think very much about.
Okay.
It's not a feature that she's, highlighted or whatever. So.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm going to bring up, by the way, a which is going to be a placeholder until we actually get something that's more. Okay, this is probably too much. This I think is too much, Rhiannon. But let me know if this works for now. If it's too much, it's fine. But I just put it on screen.
Sure.
Is that okay?
That works. Yeah.
Okay. And like I say, we'll replace that with actual art when we get there. Okay. So, Sataria. Okay. And controlled by Rhiannon. Great. Okay. So, yes. So you see that, Jaraxxus, appearing sort of exactly where Fob was. But it clearly is different and is clearly living because Sataria kind of, I assume, rolls up to a sitting position anyway. And Sataria, you see this massive wave of water, which looks like a water elemental to you. You've seen those before as well in your training. Jaraxxus, do you see? Then Sataria, I'm imagining you're looking at the water, not at Jaraxxus.
Yes.
So you're just looking at the water, right? So it's a room with these pillars, and again, there's a pool of water from which this thing is rising. It hasn't attacked yet. It's just sort of roaring loudly. The buzzing is gone, though, and the tingling effect, but you clearly are not where you were. So I'd like to know what you want to do, Sataria, and then Jaraxxus, I'm going to ask for what you're doing.
Well, I think there's the sort of like impulse to sort of like, it's coming. Wait, no, it's not. It's not coming for me. When she's set up. And then like, once she isn't hit immediately, she's going to sort of like do the scan around her to just figure out like what more information she can gain. Okay.
And behind you, I think you would see there is a door directly behind you, which is down here. But you also see over here a halfway open door in which a rather confused Jaraxxus, who can describe, I think has already described his character, but maybe could describe what he looks like or what he's doing. Because Jaraxxus, I would like to know what you're doing. Then we're going to talk about Raven and Nulls, and then we'll see how things go with this creature.
Okay, so the moment that Fob disappears, Greg, was the disappearance, like, did Fob disappear and this person reappeared a moment later, or did it almost, could I be fooled into thinking that Fob has transformed into, like, was it instant? Or was it Fob's
practically instant. Well, it wasn't, you did not see the outline transform into Sataria's form, into this form you don't know the name of yet. You didn't see that, but it was like a split second, like Fob vanishes, Sataria appears. Okay. So whether that means transformation or not, you're not sure. You did not see it morph in from one to the other, though.
Got it. So Sataria would see let's see, how tall am I? Oh yeah, that's right. So the Dendis, which is my species, are notoriously short. I am, at least for the males, I'm 5'2", which is brimming the peaks of height for Dendis males.
He's known as the notorious SMALL.
And you see essentially this figure is I'm looking at my art right now that was drawn by our the lovely artist who did our characters. So you see his legs do not end in feet. They end in these weird, like, digitigrade, elongated toes, almost like a raptor of some sort. And then you see that he is wearing along his entire body essentially like a bodysuit, like an armored bodysuit of some sort, almost like a spacesuit. And it's sort of black and dark red. He wears a white lab coat, like straight from human culture science lab coat, over this sort of this spacesuit that he wears. And then from the pretty much leaving, the only part of this creature's skin that you can see is of his face. And his face is pale, almost porcelain white. That is the natural like color and texture of his face. His eyes are just pure white, pupilless, and you see where there would be hair and a beard are instead an assembly of red tentacles or tendrils that come out from the top of his head and also come from his chin in the form of a beard. And he raises a hand which has, I think in this image, hold on, let me see. I think, yeah, the dentists have 3 digits. We're learning new things every day.
Yeah.
You see him raise a 3-fingered hand up to his temple, where you see that there's currently a sort of like transparent blue visor effect that is overlaid over in front of his eyes, and he taps his temple and the blue visor disappears as this creature speaks out. And I guess I'm assuming we're not gonna experience any language problems, me speaking common.
But you don't know till you try. But
okay, all right. In common, this creature, Dr. Juraxis, says, Bob, what happened? You should get out of the room. And he will look and say, are you all right? What is the water elemental like approaching us threateningly, or
it
is it just
is
sort of like
roaring in the? It looks like it's, well, you don't know if it's trying to decide what to do, but it's like you think that maybe when it touched the thing and there was that surge, it might have stunned it a bit. But when it sort of recovers, you have a feeling it's pretty hostile.
Okay, I think Juraxis's natural reaction would be to grab this person and then like look around for where Fob is, and if there's no one else in the room, bring the both of us out of the room to figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay, so you'd have to move forward from your position to Sataria. So then, Sataria, question is, would you allow, like, so I just liked how every part of your description, you're like, you see this, I'm like, Sataria would never have seen that. You see this, never seen that. So you're just like, so this thing's like,
I am an alien aspect.
You know, like,
yeah.
So, like, do you want to allow any of this to happen? Like, where are you at, Sataria?
Well, I mean, so hostile thing that I know is hostile because I've seen it before.
True.
And thing that seems neutral for now does not seem to be hostile, but never seen it before. I'm going to, I think, give the benefit of the doubt to the neutral thing. And like, I don't think that I want to be touched, but if like there's beckoning or something, I think I would go with the unknown.
All right. As you stand up, I want to come to Raven and Nulls. Because as you are standing outside the doors, that surge that I mentioned, that white light, affected everyone not just in that room, but in at least, you don't know if it's the entire complex, Nulls, but at the very least, like the hallway outside the room also had this blinding white light, the surge, this bzzz, sound. And you as well see the small figure of Titus the Zek kind of outlined and silhouetted against the white. And what you then see is that outline disappears. And instead you see a figure which, and feel free, LaShawn, if this is not what you want Raven to be doing, but I'm assuming it's something a little like this, but correct me if I'm wrong, sort of standing there. And now is a good time to describe, I think, what Raven might look like to Nulls as you appear in this place.
Okay. Great. She is seeing a sort of small, slender humanoid with reddish brown skin and long silver hair in braids. And she is looking around in a panic and realizing, oh, crud.
Yeah, this is definitely not where you started at all. Okay, as I'm pulling up what we'll use for your token, there we go, I'm going to pull that up here. Do you, so Nulls, so as you're looking around in a panic, that means that you would also look back to see where Nulls is standing. Nulls, could you tell us a little bit about what you would physically look like as Raven turns around and sees you?
So Nulls is human, brown, light to medium complexion, long dreads that are purple, brown, and yellow, with ornaments in her hair, brown leather jacket, short leather jacket, very heavy leather black boots, purple lipstick, very dark purple lipstick, and dark eyeshadow, and very angular cheekbones.
All right. And I'm going to bring, let's see if I can. Let's see if it'll allow me to do that. It might. I'm going to bring this on board again. This is just basically a placeholder, and please feel free to tell me, no, that's not at all what it looks like. Is that I'm putting on screen right now? I know that it's not. I don't have a reddish skin humanoid. We'll get it arranged,
Yeah.
LaShawn.
Sure.
Is that
That's
okay for the
lovely.
moment? Is that sort of it-ish?
Yeah, it's okay for the moment. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Right. So, yeah, so you see that behind you, and I guess, and you also hear the sound of like roaring or whooshing sound, I guess might be the better way to put it. Both of you do, coming from inside that room. So, Nulls, I'm not sure if you want to say anything or if Raven wants to say anything to each other, or if you're all like, like.
Nulls will say something to Raven.
Okay.
Okay.
Because she realizes almost immediately that this person in front of her is not from this world. And she does not approach. She's kind of cautious, like leans back and says, "So you're not Dindus, but you're kind of like Dindus and from the same place that they come from."
And at that, yeah, this raises Raven's hackles. So she immediately jumps into like a defensive crouch, and she pulls out an energy staff and holds it in front of her like this. It's like, "Are you of the Lorendi?"
I don't know what that is, but if you're curious, there is a Dindus in that other room.
Dindus. Are they part of the Lorendi Empire, do you know?
No, but
Where am I?
That's a great question. I wish that I could accurately answer that.
From the other room.
You hear roaring from inside the room. And as you hear this roaring, the both doors. So Jaraxis says this is all happening simultaneously. So Jaraxis says you go inside the room. Both doors open for a moment, and you hear this roaring. And so, Nulls, from your position, you could probably like take a step up and see. So diagonally in, and Raven, from where you're standing, if you take a minute to like with your staff in front of you, like kind of look over your shoulder type of deal. You could do that if you want. I'm not telling you you have to, but it's where the roaring's coming from. You would see Jaraxxus, as previously described, sort of encouraging this other person, Sataria, as previously described, although you don't know what those names yet, sort of like out of the room. And behind them, this whooshing, roaring, big, massive, what looks like a living wave of water that is like 8 feet tall and is like this. And it looks like it is in a very dangerous position, which is why it's a good time for us to roll initiative, please. Let's see what we got going on. So, an initiative roll is very simple. It is going to be a D20 plus your dexterity. If you have a bonus to initiative because of some awesome feat or something, you should know that on your character already. Otherwise, go ahead and roll those. I apologize. These numbers are going to be off for just a moment, but I will add them. Okay. Add turn. Add turn. Add turn. Add turn. And let's get some combat music going. This is good music, but it's not the kind of, not the vibe we want here. How about a little bit of that? There we go. Okay, so let's see. We have we have Jaraxxus with a 17. Is that right, Jaraxxus?
That's right.
Okay. Raven, is that a 16 or do you have a dex bonus there?
A 16.
Just a 16. Okay, you have no dex bonus? I just want to be clear. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Let's see. Sataria, you have got, is that a 15?
Yeah.
Okay. And Null's with a 5. I guess Null's is too busy being like, let me talk to this person. Just one-on-one, you know. Okay, there we go. So it's 55. Right, okay. All right, I'm going to put that turn order up there so people can see. And then I will... Oh, also... while I'm thinking about it, Sataria, what's your hit point total as we get things rolling here?
18.
Really? Is that?
Well, that's what it told me. So.
Okay, for level 4. Well, it's possible. I mean, it's possible.
Sorcerers have a lower hit die than
Yeah. It's
classes.
possible. Okay, so the tank then. Just want to be clear.
Obviously. Yeah.
Raven, what are your hit points at?
My current hit points are. Let me find them. Where are my hit points? 18. 18
also. Okay, and then let's see. Nulls, I have you at 31 out of 31 still. Is that what you have?
Correct.
Okay.
God.
And Jaraxxus, I have you at 21 out of 21, but I think you have 2 temp because you were doing the whole...
That's also what I have.
Okay.
All right, Toya, Malik is the tank now.
Great.
Also, I just want to confirm something with Toya and Zach. I think we left Gamork outside this complex. I
was about to ask where Puppy was.
I was trying to remember if we did or if we brought Gamork in.
I thought Gamork came in because I remember he has that scabbard on his back, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And wasn't he standing in between the door and like he was
Okay.
blocking it?
I think that's right. Okay, so then I need to make sure.
With us because we usually like to keep the doggo with us.
So I should have also mentioned then to Raven that the other thing you happened to see was a cybernetically modified, or at least it looks like that, basically a massive wolf with a huge, what looks like kind of a mechanical or some kind of metal pieces around its back. And it has both of its eyes closed. It is enormous. And as you sort of have appeared and it's looking at you, it looks at you and goes, which after you've been in the group for a while, you'll know is the way that Gamork often responds to people. Okay, let me just bring him into the mix. Give me 1 second. No, not a wolf, man. Roll 20. What do you? Don't want a werewolf. Okay. Sorry, I tried to put in. I thought I had the dire wolf there, but it must have deleted it. So now I am. No, I don't want a wolf skeleton. Okay. Nah, this will be fine for now. No, Devin Knight, I'm not going to buy your token, damn you. You won't get me for more money. Spent like $1 billion on Roll20. All right. Right. Okay. So there is Gamork. And give him a nameplate. Okay, so he would be standing then probably right here, I guess. Basically between, sorry, Raven, between you and the rest of them. So that's Gamork. Okay. All right. And then Jiraxis 2121, 2 temp. Okay, great. So, all right. I only have to do this once, and I won't have to do it again for future combats once I know where everyone's at. Okay. 16. Great. And Sataria with the 15. Nulls with the 5. Okay. And let's see. And Gamork has got a... Oh, okay. Apparently Gamork came ready to play. He seems very quick and responsive. And what about the bad guy? Okay. Right. Got it. Great. Okay. All right. First to act is Gamork, actually. And so Gamork kind of growls after that chuckling growl that I mentioned before. Growls and then comes through the room, basically through the door, this way, and sort of turns. And Sataria, so you have this sort of disturbing experience of watching this strange, massive, what looks like a dire wolf, except it's been modified with some weird metal thing on its back, come in, and you can tell as it comes in, it is sniffing the air and appears quite blind. But nonetheless, comes in, sniffs the air, growls, and then throws itself, literally springs, at the massive wave of water that I mentioned before.
Something funny about the thought of Gamork entering the room and going, I smell water. And rushes
all
forward
water
to
must
bite
die. Yeah. Okay. So, it's going to leap there. And is going to hit. Splashes into it. Although, let's see if it's going to do. Okay, right. Splashes into it. Although as it strikes, as Gamork strikes this wave of water, the water sort of roars, and you don't know that that's in pain as much as it's just like, it typically seems to be roaring a lot, you know, and then falls back and sort of shaking its mane. Gamork takes a step back and growls something at you, Jiraxis, presumably, although you have no idea what it is that it's saying. But growls it at you nonetheless. And speaking of you, you're up next, Jiraxis. So what would you like to do as you face this wave of water?
He's probably talking for all 6 seconds of his turn. And he's probably going, are you fob? I don't... oh, the wolf is friendly. Don't hit the wolf. Hey, that's what I do. And he clicks his visor back on and is going to shoot the water elemental with a sprite beam, I guess.
Okay.
As I am wont to do.
What kind of damage is this, by the way?
This is...
Force damage,
sprite,
maybe?
Sprite damage.
Sprite damage?
No, I think it is force. Give me 10 seconds, I can tell you. I have the page number.
Sadly, the water elemental was immune to sprite damage.
It just makes watered down sprite. Dang it. Force damage, that's correct, yeah. Okay.
All right, sounds good. All right, so you may proceed.
Here we go. I will roll to hit using my Esper power. 16.
Will hit. Yep.
wonderful, amazing, great. Not so wonderful, not so amazing, not so great.
That's, for those of you at home, that's 1 point of damage.
1 point of sprite damage.
A little drip of water comes off its side.
Yeah. I guess Sataria would see this figure extend his hand, and as he does, there's maybe a part of the dark spacesuit that he wears has a interface that glows blue, the same blue of his visor, and from his hand and from the bracer that he wears, the light shoots out these like beams of almost like matrix code, I guess, sprites, if you will, that sear into the water elemental, or at least they would if I hadn't done 1 point of damage.
Seared its outer edge.
Yeah. And I kind of, maybe like the bracer sort of is like malfunctioning and sparking. He's like, oh, I tried to fix this thing, and he's tapping at it. I think I'll use my bonus action then to symbionte mark it, which is like a hex.
Yep.
So I'll use one of my slots to do that, and bonus action, and kind of little targeting reticle appears in my visor, and I think that's all I'm going to do. And I'll keep a close eye and say, are you fob or what's going on? Also, watch out, that thing's trying to kill us.
You will get a chance to respond to that in just a sec, Sataria. Thank you, Jiraxis. Raven, you were up next, and you see through these doors, which seem to be kind of opening and closing a little bit erratically. The doors are kind of like, it reminds you it's like being right at home on The Final Chance, like just, same kind of thing. But you can see through them. You just saw someone shoot towards something, and you see, again, Draxus, Sataria, and now this wolf, and you kind of see a little bit of like splashing water, although you can't quite get a full fix on what it is. And of course, Nulls, I don't think you said your name, Nulls, but if you did, then I'm sorry, is still behind you. So what would you like to do, Raven?
I like to shout, what the hell is that? What the hell is going on?
Okay, it echoes through the halls.
And Null says, you good with that staff? Because you're going to need it.
Do I even want to do this?
Well, if we're going to get out of here alive together, yeah.
Why should I trust you?
That's about the only thing you can trust right now, right? I mean, I could be asking the same of you, but I'd like to get out of here alive. And I got friends in that other room.
All right. I'll help you fight this thing, and then you can tell me what the hell's going on. Right?
It would be my pleasure to answer any and all questions once we are still alive and out of this place.
Right. Okay, I'm not going to charge in willy-nilly, though. So, why don't you go ahead? In the meantime, I'm going to cast Aegis, which puts a shield around me.
Okay. So you're going to cast Aegis, shielding yourself. Also, hi, Drew. All right. Why? Oh, there we go. I'm going to just make sure I put a little marker on your token so we know about that. There we go. Yeah, shield. All right. So you got Aegis on. Are you going to... So you're going to, if I understand this correctly, hold on your move and let Nulls go first, theoretically, and then you're going to pass after Nulls? Okay.
Pretty much.
And that's
because I'm just going to watch and see what's happening first.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Then that's going to lead us to Sataria is up next. So Sataria, there is a big, now soaked wolf with a metal thing on its back next to you. And behind you is the person who just shot out this sprite, this weird numbers beam or something at it. And there's a big water thing in front of you. What would you like to do?
Well, move back first off.
Okay. Logical. You can, yeah, I was going to say, yep.
And then, so past something. I don't think it makes sense, like these people that she's never met, to start doing her sort of like shield of faith type stuff. Because it seems like we're on the same side, but you need a little more trust.
Fair.
So I think it's not her like focus, but I think she is going to do spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Because that's something she can do to defend herself.
All right.
So, cast a spell, melee spell attack.
And actually, I think as it sent to Roll20, it already made a spell attack and damage. I don't know if we can take that or.
Cool.
Probably
I like
can. As I pull up a spiritual weapon, possibly. I have.
What is your spiritual?
Yeah, that's
weapon?
true. Is it a glaive or a fantasy sword? Because I have those.
Well, probably use if you have a dagger or something. Because what I was thinking is like a scalpel, but they wouldn't have the like what we think of as scalpels, like that particular format. But like some very like sharp handheld dagger would be sort of, I assume, forming that purpose. So probably from a distance, it's just like, it's a little dagger. It's cute.
Okay, you ready for this? I'm very excited. I'm gonna have to shrink the size, but check this out.
Wait a minute. What? It just continually spins. Wow, that's spiritual if I've ever
Let's
seen
go.
it. That's
I could
amazing.
get you. I mean, like I could also get you. This actually.
Oh,
Maybe that's better. All right.
more spiritual.
Yeah, more spiritual.
More spiritual. All right, there we go. Okay. I can also stop it if you want me to stop it, but I think okay. So let me just put that as controlled by.
Amazing.
Okay, there we go. All right, so you have that, and I made it small because you said dagger. Okay, so you're having it. Right? You could do those animated things. Like, is this stuff? Yeah. I love those. I agree. Okay, so 15 will hit. And so you said 9 damage, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it takes all of that. Does not like that at all. And it doesn't roar in anger. It just roars as, water type of thing. An angry wave. Okay.
And
good.
she's going to yell back, who is this fob person? I don't know them.
Duraxis looks back and goes, "Oh, great," and then looks back at the elemental.
Okay. Let's see. So, this thing is going to reach down to Gamork and is going to attempt to, basically with 2 wavy arms, slam down on Gamork, if it can. So, let's see. That first one was missed. The second one, though, was a whole lot of hit. Let's see. So you just hear this horrible cracking sound as this thing slams into Gamork and hits it so hard that Gamork almost slips and falls to the ground through the force of the blow, but then manages to stand up. But you can definitely see, like, there are, like, almost like welts visible on its fur, and you can see that he is like growling. He's definitely been that was a hard hit that the thing just had. And what it does now is it literally goes into the space of the spiritual weapon. So it just like sort of surrounds it almost. And in case anyone's curious, water elemental can enter a hostile creature space and stop there. Now, fortunately, your spiritual weapon does not need to breathe. At least I don't think so.
No.
But it is there as the creature has stopped on top of it. Okay, Nalls, you are next to act, and you can decide if you want to do what Raven said and like go first, or if you want to do something else. Up to you.
How far away is the water elemental?
Like 35 feet from you.
Okay.
Probably.
So I am going to cast Vicious Mockery on it.
Okay. You might need to get close enough at least to here, just so you know, Nulls, because you're looking through two doors that are kind of sort of closing and opening erratically.
Okay.
So here I think is perfectly fine. Or you could even be here if you want to be down here, you can. But you need to be in this little antechamber, I think, to do that.
Okay. I will proceed into the antechamber.
Okay. So go ahead and move your, you can move your guy. You can move Nulls, if you like, I think. I gave you.
I can't. Well, it's not letting me. I've got my hand on it.
It says
But
you
it's
should
not
have
moving.
control over it, no?
Well, let me... Okay. I was using the hand and not the pointer.
Oh, yeah, I
There we
did.
go.
Yeah, that happens to me 65 times a session. Cool. Okay, so you're using Vicious Mockery, which means
Yes.
it needs to make a save, right? A charisma saving
Yeah,
throw?
a wisdom.
A wisdom? Yeah.
Oh, look at you. You're barely corporeal.
The famously wise water elemental does not... oh, man. It definitely did not succeed. You did... Is that 1 point of psychic?
Yes, sadly.
Buddies. 1 damage, buddies.
1 damage. But Vicious Mockery has another effect. Which is...
Yeah, you tell me.
Vicious Mockery means that it gets disadvantage on its next attack.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yes. So even though there's the 1 point of damage, that's not bad, Nulls. That's good stuff. You could move further into the room or move back out.
I'm going to move back out.
Okay. So you move in, you move back out. Okay, now, Raven, you technically had a held move. When you saw Nulls go in and do that, you could now take your move if you wish. Like, you saw Nulls go in and go out. You could be like, great, I'm going to stay here. Or you could come into the room or the antechamber if you wish, because you had your move held. It's up to you.
No, I'll stay put, but I will tilt my head at Knowles and be like, okay.
Okay. All right, that's going to bring us up to the top of the round. That is going to lead us to Gamork, who is looking pretty hurt after taking that hit from the water elemental. Sort of circles around trying to get a sense of what it wants to do. And then is going to snarlingly attempt to claw the water elemental. Clearly driving this thing to the ground and knocking it prone is not going to happen. So he's going to attempt to attack. He will hit. You all know what Gamork is like when he gets angry. Okay. Right. Okay. So he lashes out with his claw and bite, and does sort of bite into this thing. And again, it sort of roars as the water rushes around it. Okay. And that's going to bring us to Jaraxxus. Raven, you are on deck. Jaraxxus, what would you like to do?
Okay. I'm assuming that I'm now in melee with it since it got closer.
Mm-hmm.
So can I use 5 feet of my movement and disengage with your roll there?
Yes, you can do that for sure.
Okay. So I'll back up for my movement and turn over my shoulder and say, I can explain who Fabi's later, but I am Dr. Jaraxxus. Welcome to the... We're in Celis, right? Sometimes it feels like it's been months, only in the span of seconds. I don't know why. And he'll turn around and shoot another sprite beam.
Okay.
And hopefully if he hits, he's going to get the extra symbiote mark damage. So
Okay.
Let's pray to the dice gods. But of course,
Let's
the
go,
moment
sprite.
I say that, hey, we get a 22. It
Hey,
actually worked.
hit for sure.
Okay, so that is going to deal a d10 for the sprite, for the sprite, extra large sprite,
Yeah.
and the d6 for the mark. So 8 points of damage.
Okay.
The mark really
Nice.
helped me out there.
Yeah, it did. Maybe if your attack was 7-Up or like,
Yeah.
Or-
Well,
or,
you know what? I should change
Mountain
my name
Dew,
to
you know?
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, not Dr. Jaraxxus.
No. We want it to be a good soda, not whatever the hell that is.
Oh my God.
I can't
The
stand
Dr. Pepper slander will not be allowed.
This I
I
not
hate Dr.
tolerated.
Pepper so much. And then they made it worse with Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm like, how could you make it worse?
Well,
Why
sure.
would you
yeah.
drink diet anything?
Yeah, don't
That,
do
fair,
that.
yes, fair.
But pure Dr. Pepper slander,
Oh,
no,
no.
we will not tolerate.
Our viewer numbers are going to plummet now.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Drew's like, what? unfollowed,
Next, New
unsubbed.
York Times, new Twitch streamer says Dr. Pepper. Yeah.
Oh man.
That
Once
also
promising gaming career derailed by Dr. Pepper slander. All right. Great.
That also say 8 points of damage.
Yep.
And I will, maybe this time Sataria sees the beam shoot out more strongly from the suit and from his hand now, and then as it's there, some sort of effect that he has put over it has caused the entire water elemental to shimmer with these sprites that then sort of like cause it to like become less corporeal and start to melt maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll after having introduced himself, that's my turn.
Good stuff. Raven, you were up next, and Sataria is on deck. Raven, what would you like to do? Now it is within range of you, and you see this massive wave of water within which is this rotating magical dagger for some reason. You're not sure why, but yeah.
Okay. I
Roll for Baja Blast. I'm sorry, I just saw. That's very funny. That's very good, Proxima. Well done, well done.
Yeah, I don't get that ability till 6th level.
Yeah, of course, of course. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, let's see. It's not casting. It's not casting, but I am going to implement Daze.
Okay.
Cool.
So, that is a good call. All right, so this is a talent.
Yes.
And can you describe what it does whilst I basically know, but for the lovely audience?
So, it is a rank 1 psychogenic talent.
Mm-hmm.
It puts its target into a confused haze.
Okay.
Creatures within 20 feet of a point I choose within the range, which I'm in range, so
Yep.
must make a wisdom saving throw or be placed into a state of confusion and be considered to be restrained by the psychic energy until the end of its next turn. If the creature succeeds on its saving throw, it is immune to this power's effect for the next 24 hours.
Okay, you'll be happy to know it's not going to be immune to that if it hits. However, I am going to ask you to do a little bit of positional work for me, Raven, because it is all creatures within a 20-foot spot from there. So if you were to just do it diagonally, you couldn't put it far enough back without affecting this wolf that's attacking it, in addition to it. And since I assume you don't want that to happen, the only way to get it would be you could like come up here, like lean in and cast it back here. So basically that means that you would get it, but not Gamork. You obviously don't know.
Yeah, that works.
You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
Okay, so if you move your one up and you do that, that's fine. So he has to make a wisdom saving throw.
Zip.
Lovely, perfect, great, thank you. Okay, cue up the Land of Confusion. For the second time, this not super wise elemental, not really its thing, does not make that save. So that means that it is put into a state of confusion. And yes, we should totally, can't you see this is the Land of Confusion? Yeah, it's a great song. Okay. So what this means, chat, in case anyone is curious, is... Okay. So what this means is that since it is confused, it is restrained by that psychic energy. Oh, okay. Sorry. The way that it's written is a little confusing. It's not actually, it's oddly confusing. It's not actually confused because that would imply a whole bunch of other things. What it means is that it is restrained based upon what you did. So what that means is that a restrained creature's speed is 0, can't benefit from bonus to its speed, attack rolls against it have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage. Now, it already was at disadvantage because of the Vicious Mockery, but, you know, it's still whatever. It still has disadvantage, and it has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. The biggest deal there is the fact that now attack rolls against it have advantage until the end of its next turn, which is a big deal. So, good stuff, Raven. Are you then going to back out of the room, or are you going to stay where you are, like, because, like, the door is like, so are you, like, leaning out, leaning back, like, backing up 5 feet? Where are you at?
I think what I'm going to do is I am going to, like, I'm coming to the room, but I'm still going to, like, be in the corner.
Gotcha. Okay, so you appear. So Sataria, you're like, who the hell is this? Like, as you walk in, like this new person shows up. Also, Jaraxxus, you now see Jaraxxus, Raven, and Jaraxxus. If you look over your shoulder, you're like, you know, like there's that. Also, you're like, who is this person? Okay, good stuff, Raven. And speaking of Sataria, you just saw this new random person enter and do the thing they just did, and the elemental looks really like sort of like flailing about. Your spiritual weapon is in the middle of it, so you can, I think it's, I don't remember if it's an action or a bonus action to get your spiritual weapon to attack.
Bonus action.
Bonus action. So you could do that first, or you could attack it, whatever you want to do.
Let's resolve this spiritual weapon first. So that's with advantage, right?
Yes.
For sure. Roll.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Let's see, 18 plus 6. Yeah, so 24. Absolutely. All right, so let's see what damage it does.
7 damage.
7 damage. I feel like I should give it even like double advantage because it's in the body of the thing. Like you'd think that would be like real advantage. Okay, so so it strikes it hard. And then what would you like to do?
So you said that the wolf had been hit and looks kind of beat up?
Yes.
Okay. Cure wounds on the wolf.
Ah, okay.
Oh, but I need to be close enough. Dang it.
Yes, that's right, touch. Now, you could, let me see, 5, 10, 15. You could come around here. Like, you could, like, go around the pillars and get to it. You know, that is possible.
I have the distant spell thing. Let me look that up.
Oh, do you? As a Divine Soul Sorcerer? My daughter is just about to play Divine Soul Sorcerer in a campaign that we're thinking about, and, like, is very excited to have a healing sorcerer. It's super cool.
So I can spend a sorcery point to make the range 30 feet for a spell with
more
range
than
of
enough.
touch.
Sure, you can do that if you want.
Yes, I will do that.
Okay, so Cure Wounds. All right, outstanding. And is that 5 points that I saw?
Yeah.
It did? Okay. So when you do that, the wolf sort of like, you can see that it's like its wounds heal slightly, and it and kind of growls and looks around, sort of sees you and sees also this new person that entered, and then just sort of shakes its head and annoyedly and turns back to face the creature. Good stuff, Sataria. Are you moving anywhere, or are you staying where you are?
I'm staying where I am.
In that case, it is the creature's turn. So the creature is not able to do a whole lot, except now, even though it's restrained, it can attack from where it is, and it's going to attack Gamork. But it will be a disadvantage to do so. So let's see if it hits. Well, that's going to be close. Yeah, that is going to hit him. Just. Okay, let's see. Okay. So it slams Gamork again. Now, it's a good thing you healed it, Sataria, because it would not have survived. Gamork would not have stayed upright if you had not done so. But now Gamork looks exceedingly hurt, like practically like, you know, body almost dragging on the floor. This thing, although you have hit it and done some serious damage to it, it packs a punch every time it hits, if it hits. So even with the disadvantage, unfortunately, it was able to hit. But it can't move anywhere because of your Raven, because of your talent. So we will move on to Nulls, who is up next. Nulls, you're still outside the room. What would you like to do?
Now, I'm not sure I'm close enough to do anything at the moment where I'm standing. Because I'm going to have to move twice to get close enough, right?
Depends on what you're doing, because these are 5-foot squares. So
okay,
yeah, you might be able to get in. You can get in the room, like you can get into here if you want, or you can get into here. Because you're out here, right?
Okay, yeah, I'm right here. You're saying where can I move?
You could move. I mean, you could move as far up. You could literally engage it in melee if you wanted. I know that's not what you want to do.
Yeah,
but you
that's
could.
not what I want to do.
No, I know.
Because I'm thinking I have some long range attacks, but I think people will be in the way and will get hurt if I do that.
Okay.
Because like I've got Thunder Wave and Thunderclap, but that's going to hurt other people. Yeah, also it'll probably hit Gamork too, which would be very bad if I tried that. Wait a minute. Can I use Cloud of Daggers? Would that hit anyone? I can think I could. I never
Depends
know
on where
how
you
to,
place it.
I never know how to just look at descriptions of things on here, and I'm afraid if I click something, I'll just cast the spell by accident.
You should just be able to click the name of the spell.
Okay. Okay, so that's within 60 feet. So, can I even cast that from where I am? Because I now know where that thing is.
I would say you need to have line of sight though to see where you're casting it.
So if I come
yeah.
right here, like right there.
Yep, that's fine.
All right. Okay, so I am going to cast Cloud of Daggers.
All right.
Let's see. Let me get rid of this.
I wonder if I have Cloud
window.
of Daggers in here. Do I have Cloud of Daggers? Roll 20. Oh, you have it for the low price of not free. God damn it. Not going to do it. Not going to pay another premium. No,
I'm
that's
trying to close windows.
No, but that's the that's the like the this is it's on the website. It's like
file.
this is what you could do. Yeah, like
Yeah, this is what you could get.
This is
with
what you
9
could have
low
gotten,
payments
but
of
no.
$29.99.
God almighty.
Just create a cloud. Just find a cloud and then put a bunch of daggers in it. There you go.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
Yep.
Does it show? No, it's not showing it. I have this one like picture of daggers that's like very lame. All right. Well, we're gonna.
I mean,
That first spinny thing you had was
yeah,
pretty
that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Let's see.
Just spawn a
I
bunch
mean,
of those.
In my other stream, this is the time when the paintbrush comes out and somebody goes like,
Oh,
yeah.
cloud shape.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now you know what we're gonna do? 2,
There you go.
3,
Embrace the chaos.
4.
Yes.
Yay.
That's a cloud if
5,
I've ever seen one.
6.
There we go.
Get ready for roll 20 to be like, like right. All right, there. Ha! Look at that cloud, chat. Look at that cloud. Yeah. Let's go.
Amazing.
Okay.
This is the premium content.
Yeah, this is the
come
premium
here for.
content. I can't just select it without selecting Gamork. Oh, there we go. I got it. Okay, so you're putting that right here.
I almost feel bad for the thing.
I mean, like,
It
the
wasn't
also, which
just
one
water.
is Cetarius and
matter
which one is
anymore.
the other one? It doesn't matter.
It's joined its brethren.
Yeah.
There's this family reunion has been 29 sessions in the making.
Oh my God, Cloudy with a chance of daggers. Exactly. It's just
Mm-hmm.
all right. I love it. Great stuff, Niles. Are you staying where you are, or are you now like backing up, or are you staying like with the door going?
I can't take another action, right?
Bonus action, if you had like, or a free action or a bonus action. If one of your things is a bonus action, like one of your inspirations might be a bonus action. He said doubtfully, maybe.
Maybe not. Okay. I'm going to stay where I am for the moment.
Okay.
That was a 11 hit, by the way.
Well.
Or the damage is 11.
Yeah.
And I think it takes it at the start of its turn.
First time on a turn, right? So when it gets to it will take that damage to begin with when it starts its turn there, because it's not entering it, you're casting on top of it. So that's good stuff. Although Gamork is like sort of backs away, a little disturbed. Okay, good stuff, Niles. All right, the aforementioned Gamork is going to back away. Both from the creature and also from the literal cloud of daggers that it sees in front of it. And it is going to sort of kind of lower itself to the ground as if poised to strike, but it is not going to attack yet. And that's going to bring us to Jaraxxus with Raven on deck. Jaraxxus, you see a bunch of daggers.
I also turned to see an Eldori enter the room. Is that right?
Well, that's true. Would you know that it was a Lorendi?
Well, I'm not sure I'd know Lorendi, but Eldori. the
Eldori, you would
species.
know. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That's he'd look over and just kind of stare for a moment.
You do see Knowles. That's a familiar face.
Yeah. And then I hear suddenly a cloud of daggers enter this water elemental and turn back. Oh! And I'm just gonna, when the thing is attacking, you hit it with damage. Natural 20.
Wow, nice. Let's go.
Nice.
Crit hit. So I can tell this is where I get to introduce to Rhiannon and LaShawn that in my games it is max damage on a crit hit. That goes both ways. Also, if they hit you. But yeah.
Okay, so in that case, the damage potential of this is 1d10 and 1d6, so that would be 16.
16
force
damage. Nice. Okay. Slam. Yeah, this thing is starting to look. You can see like parts of it are sort of. There's some like puddles of water on the ground that are not just the big puddle behind it, basically. So it looks a little the worse for wear as far as a wave of water can look the worse for wear.
Great.
So yes.
And I'll turn back and look at Raven, and then look at Knowles and say, Knowles, what is going on?
She suddenly appeared and Titus was gone.
And Jaraxxus gestures at Cetari and repeats the same, but with Fob. And I have another question too, for that, I guess as a framework for Raven's turn. Our whole campaign, the idea of Jaraxxus being a space celebrity, essentially, like in the Esper Genesis book, actually, there is a celebrity background, which I chose. Never got to use it because I'm stranded on a planet that has no idea who I am. But meeting now someone else from the Silverrain Arc, would it make sense that Raven would maybe have an idea of, or at least peripherally, of Dr. Jaraxxus? Because my thought is that, and there's even a feature for this actually, under celebrity, it says, because if she recognizes me, that might change the dynamic of things. Let's see. It says.
I love Jaraxxus is like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
Look, I don't get to.
Does Raven stay up late at night in her bunk watching videos?
This is essentially
Jaraxxus scrolling through.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the equivalent of like a kind of a Neil deGrasse Tyson, but less actually scientifically knowledgeable. Slightly less. Okay, there's a feature of the background that says you're often recognized by the public no matter where you are in the galaxy. Where it can sometimes be a chore, it also has its perks. So long as you stick to your skit, you gain favor quickly in a crowd, often gaining you advantage checks, da-da-da-da-da. You can use your clout to gain discounts. Fans are fickle, blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, just because... and two, I mean, I think at the very least, the last thing I'll say is recognizing me as a fellow species of the Silverrain Arc, Oh,
for sure. Yeah, that would not be surprising Raven at all. Like Jaraxxus, you'd be like, oh yeah. Like, I mean, you've seen... it's up to you whether you've seen Jaraxxus himself, but you've definitely seen the species, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my turn. Just wanted to bring it up because it might change might change things.
Good stuff. Okay, speaking of Raven, it is your turn.
Okay. So with that in mind, as she is slinking kind of like in the corner, she looks over and is like, that guy looks familiar. But she doesn't really know where she knows him from.
Yeah.
But she's like, I know him. I know him from somewhere, but I don't know where.
He hasn't posted in like a month, I think, right? So
yeah, I don't get recognized anymore.
So besides that, Raven, you also have still an angry wave of water with a bunch of knives inside it.
Okay. I am going to hit it with a. I'm gonna hit it with a Mind Spike. Which is an attack. A psychic attack.
Psychic attack. I love it. Okay. I believe I saw this when I was looking up this stuff. Okay. You're making... Okay, so go ahead and make an attack then for this Mind Spike. Is this a talent? What is this?
No, it's not a talent. It's I think it's it's an attack.
Is that your regular... Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a regular attack.
It's an adept ability.
Oh, okay.
It's cool.
Very, very cool. All right, so... Forgive
on
me, I
page
have not had an
58.
adept attack before, so...
It's on page
so
58.
I see it, yeah. Range channeling attack. Okay, great. So we're looking at a 12?
Yeah.
That...
Or she just rolled her damage right there.
Oh, yeah. First we need to roll to hit.
Roll hit, which is...
So that's going to be, in this case, range channeling would be, looks like charisma. So it would be your proficiency bonus, which is 2, and your charisma modifier, so whatever that is, plus d20.
3.
So so we're talking 5. So d20 plus 5 to see if you hit this thing.
All right. Roll 1d20. Oh, plus 3 plus 5.
I am going to use an ability
Oh, yeah.
of mine.
Mhm.
I didn't even... This actually fits perfect. I didn't even think about this part of it. So, one of the only features of my subclass, which is called the Director subclass, I can use a reaction. It says perfectly balanced. When you or a creature within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check. I've used this before a couple times. Once per short rest, you can use your reaction to have the d20 roll be treated as if it had rolled a 10. So I will use that right now.
Before you do that, remember that attack rolls against this creature still have advantage until we get to the water elemental's turn.
It's a great point.
So you can roll that again, LaShawn. Raven.
Oh.
You can roll that again because it attacks against it have advantage until its next turn, and then, yeah.
All right. So 9 plus 5 is 14.
14. So now if you want to do that 10 thing, Duraxis, you could.
One
One of the two of them.
I'll wager that a 9 is close enough, so I won't do it.
Well, you're wrong. No, it's actually you do. It does hit. Yes.
Okay, good.
So you do hit. All right. So it does 12
Also-
damage. Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, Noz will make note of something kind of psychic-y about this new person who has appeared.
Yes. Oh, and that reminds me, by the way. Well, no. Okay, I can't say this other part yet because Sataria isn't looking in your direction because Sataria's worried about the cloud of daggers, wave water thing. But yes. So yes, definitely psychic in nature, no question about it. No question else. Okay, so you did that. Good hit, Raven. Are you moving anywhere? Or are you staying where you are?
I'm staying put.
Sataria, you were up next. What would you like to do? This thing is starting to look, I mean, I don't know about pretty hurt, but definitely it's been hit a lot. You've done some damage to it, you and the crew here.
I mean, so I'm still worried about the wolf. It didn't sound like it was doing very well. So
Yeah, it got smacked. Yep. Oh, and you have your
So-
spiritual weapon in the middle of it too. I forgot. That's one of
Yep.
the daggers there. So
boop. Is the advantage still going, or is that
yes, until literally the water elemental is going to go next, and then it'll be over.
okay?
So 25, very nice, almost a crit, but not quite. 5 damage though. Okay.
5.
Yep, lovely.
I'll take it.
All right. And yes, you were saying, yes, the wolf does not look in good shape.
So we're gonna do higher level healing this time.
Oh.
9.
Okay. So again, you see the wounds. Are you doing the thing with the sorcery point to make it do range?
Yes.
Okay.
I got a couple of those. So
Okay. Yep. No, it makes sense.
4 sorcery points. So
Yeah. No, it makes sense. So again, you see the wounds heal, and the wolf is like it seems increasingly like sort of put out that this is happening, but also, of course, you're definitely healing it. So okay, good stuff, Sataria. Same question: are you moving anywhere or doing anything else?
No.
Okay, so it is its turn. At the beginning of the turn, it's going to take that damage from the cloud of daggers, Nulls. So now you can roll your... How much damage did you say it did, actually?
11.
11 damage. Okay, yeah, now it's starting to look quite messed up, actually. So it is going to... It is no longer restrained or anything by that effect, but it is going to move here towards the source of not its torment, but just, and it's going to literally move into Gamork's space. And surrounding in the wolf, of course, is growling furiously. And then you can see the thing starts to almost like a typhoon, like a mini typhoon. And you can see Gamork struggling to hold his position. Wow. Struggling, but he does manage to hold on to his position. That was very impressive. Okay. So, let's see. It's about yeah, no. He manages to avoid it. Amazing. Tried to clearly overwhelm this creature, but Gamork was able to back up, but is now like pinned against the back wall as this water elemental is moving in towards it despite it being hurt, which is going to lead us up to Nulls. Nulls, you've done a lot of damage to it, but it still remains. What would you like to do?
Okay. The long range attacks I still can't do because I might end up hitting people. I don't want to do Cloud of Daggers again because I don't want to have to wait with Gamork being hurt.
And you can't anyway because it's concentration, so you've already got one Cloud of Daggers up.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you move the cloud? I don't think you can you?
That's a really good question. Let's find out.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
No, it just stays in one spot.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Let's see. I think Dissonant Whispers I can do and not hit anyone else. Yes.
Okay. That sounds...
Yes, I will do that.
All right.
And nobody else can hear it, so I'm not going to tell them what I said.
All right.
So I'm going to cast that.
All right. I think it's a wisdom saving throw again.
Yes.
Okay. Third time on trying to save for wisdom. Yeah, this just does not want, wisdom is just not its deal. Okay. So that means it's going to take 3d6, it looks like, psychic damage. 12, huh? Okay. Yeah, and then has to use its reaction to move away from you. So, let's see. I think it's going to move this way, and I'm going to rule that as it does that, Gamork's going to get an attack of opportunity because it's paying no attention to it. So, Gamork is going to lash out with furious rage and anger and is going to hit it. And is going to do a little more damage to it. Okay. All right. Good stuff. It is now like pushed into the corner of the room as far as it can get away from you, Nulls. Are you moving into the room or are you staying where you are?
I'm going to stay put for now.
Okay.
I can torment it where I am.
That makes sense. One should always pay attention to Gamork. You got that right. Gamork is going to attack again on his turn. He is going to hit it again. Okay. This thing is now looking very almost sort of disconnected, like sort of. You all know the end of those of you who've seen Terminator 2, when the T-1000 gets hit by the bomb, the grenade that hits it. It's like half like reaching over. It's sort of like what this looks like. It's not in good shape. Draxus, you were up. Raven is on deck.
Okay. I think Draxus will actually move forward a bit.
Okay.
If only because he has the rig and set up as a cybermancer to record things visually around him. Mm-hmm. He gets a really cool shot of this cloud of daggers that he'll be able to use as a form of B-roll at some point later. And then we'll take a shot from here, we'll say, and do the same. Don't fix what ain't broken and give it a 19 to hit.
Yes, we'll hit.
Feeling good about that.
You all decided to roll well today.
Yeah. Ish on the damage, but 6 points of force.
Okay. Yeah, looking exceedingly hurt at this point.
Okay.
Draxus, you moving back at all?
Nope.
Okay. Raven, you were up, and Sataria's on deck. This thing is very hurt. It's also pushed in the corner.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry. Draxus, didn't you have a symbiote mark on this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Did you count that as your, when you were doing the... Okay, you did. Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry, Raven.
Just to clarify, the wolf is still within...
Yeah, it's like right next to it, if not
it's
slightly
next
inside
to it.
Yeah, like the wolf's here, and the creature's right here, so it's like right on top of it. Because the elemental can occupy the space of other creatures, so...
I think... No, that's not going to work. Okay, then I am going to... I'm going to try to talk to it.
Talk to it. Okay.
And tell it to stand down psychically.
Psychically. Okay. Are you... So this isn't a particular talent, right? You're just communicating to it, stand down?
Yeah, I think I have telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm at this stage where I can actually speak to it I'm able to speak to it I'm able to communicate with
telepathically.
my mind.
Yeah. Okay. And so you just tell it, what do you say to it?
Stand down, or else you'll die.
It seems not particularly responsive.
I'm not surprised.
Sadly, to your telepathy, it was worth a shot.
Okay.
Are you moving anywhere, Raven?
No, I'm staying put.
Okay. Sataria, you are up. Your weapon is sitting over here somewhere in this cloud. But otherwise, you can see it's next to Gamork. It looks very hurt. I mean, Gamork also looks hurt, but it looks very hurt.
Well, so the weapon I can move 20 feet. Yeah, so if I can find one there it is. It's the one that I can move.
Yeah, I was going to say, there should be one of them you can move. Aha. Okay.
They send their kid off to college. All right, little Dagger, you'll be fine. Go on.
They grow up so fast.
Oh my God.
Wow, look at that. 22 hit. All right.
Oh, to hit. I was like, damage. Jeez.
Yeah. 8.
As your weapon slashes into its side, it sort of like roars and then reaches to the ceiling again, and then and with a massive splash hits the ground and dissipates into a bunch of well, I guess I shouldn't say dissipates, bunch of puddles and things like that basically on the ground. And suddenly an eerie silence rules the room. I'm going to put up a soundscape to reflect this, which is like that. Okay. Okay. And I'm going to get rid of this cloud of daggers here. But otherwise, and I'm going to get rid of the spiritual weapon for the same reason. And you're left with these. Now, quick question to the players. I had promised to break before. We were in the middle of the a fun combat, so I didn't want to, jump in the way of that. So it's 10:16. We're supposed to go to 10:40. I can give you like a 2-minute or 3-minute break now, or we can run until like 10, say 35, 40. So basically end like maybe 5 minutes before. Is that? You tell me. Is that
would be my preference?
Okay? Is that?
Yeah, that would be my preference.
Okay. So let's do that. So given that you're now in the room, you can speak to each other as you wish.
Jaraxxus will look back at the others, and his symbiote mark is gone. Hello. You said you are not Fob? I'm assuming you are not Titus. I will point at Raven.
Titus? I never heard of it.
While they're talking, I'm going to go over to Gomork.
Okay, just a quick note. When you go into the room, Sataria, this is the figure that you saw just before you lost consciousness.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Just a note.
Me or Nalik?
No, Nalik.
Well, Sataria was already worried about the wolf. So she's going to go over there.
Okay.
So on seeing this familiar figure, she's going to say, so you summoned me. That was your spell? Wait, what did you do?
Well, I didn't summon you, but if you have a way with dreams and you know how to walk them, then that's probably how you found your way to me.
No, I've never done anything with dreams before. I'm a healer.
Well, dreams have the capacity to heal as well. Maybe you have an inclination for it?
So, So, when do I get to go back?
How did you get here?
Well, the buzzing and the wavering and the headache.
Face buzzing? Did I hear that right? You heard buzzing?
Yeah.
That happened to me too.
So it was the same spell.
It was a spell?
I assume.
Neither of us cast anything.
That doesn't sound like a spell that I know of.
What's a spell?
Oh.
Is that anything violent?
Well, it's sort of kind of like what you did with your mind, except you use the elements, you use your own energy, stuff like that.
Okay. I'm familiar with that part. Where are we?
Well, we are beneath the surface of this world, in the catacombs of a city known as Celis. Am I remembering this right? As Zach? Yeah.
Yes, it is. Sure. It is indeed like Celis. Also, okay, LaShawn, cool. Check your Zoom chat when you get a chance. And yes, Celis.
And I look at Sataria and I said, "This is the home of the Twilight elves."
Elves? Huh. I never heard of elves before, but I'm pointing at Zach. So I'm pointing at Dr. Jacques. You look familiar? And then she points at Nals. You look familiar. In fact, you looked very much like someone who was on my ship, not that I was in, just before all this happened.
On your ship?
Yes.
Dr. Jaraxxus, is that kind of like what you came on and how you ended up here on a ship that crashed?
Well, our ship did crash, but I didn't see a strange dream lady before I did.
Wait, I know you now. You're Dr. Jaraxxus.
He smiles and looks at Nalik.
So, you weren't lying. I'm amazed. I can't believe it. That's all this man
In
ever
the
talks
flesh.
about is
A
how
fan.
he has all
I was
these
Oh,
people
told not
who
to
it is a
listen
pleasure
watch
to
him
meet you.
through like these
What?
moving
Wait,
picture
Nalik,
things.
Shh. What did you say?
I was told not to listen to you.
No, surely not. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Oh,
really?
you were part. Yeah, anyone from the Empire could not listen to you. And if we did, or if we caught any, or if we heard anything of you, we will be put to death.
Um, now,
Not
I'm not
sure
sure
whether to
what you were
be,
told, but this
flattered or
man right
terrified.
here is a pretty fine companion and has saved my neck more than once or twice.
Yes, I don't see any Empire around at the moment to put you to death, so... yes, I am Dr. Daraxis, known across the Sim Matrix as a knowledgeable person on the likes of Esper powers and astrophysics and many other things. There were two other people here just a few moments ago before you two came. With his blue visor, he'll actually try to, if it's possible, Dungeon Master, I will try to because a part of my character is that I have this recording unit that records stuff. I'd like to try to play back the moment that Fob and Titus disappeared, and that these two players appeared, and then maybe project it with a little handhold minor illusion sort of thing.
I think you would have seen Fob disappear, but not Titus, right? Because
That's right,
Titus
that's
is behind
right.
you.
Yeah.
So, but presumably happened at the same time, because.
And just sort of see this projection coming out from a little mini hologram out of my palm. Easy solution. And I'll pull one of our two-way communicators that we have out of my inventory, and I will basically a walkie-talkie, and I'll Titus coming in.
Nothing.
Bob?
Same.
Well, that's, we should try to find them. That's a bit strange.
That is very strange. And why did you end up in their places?
I don't know. But it sounds to me that this is not a place that is Lorendi controlled. Am I correct?
Certainly not.
Baby, I don't even know what that is, so I think you're good.
So I'm free.
Oh.
Is there a
None of
reason
you-
why you weren't free?
I think we have much to discuss.
We do.
So,
We are on a planet right now. Oh, what is your name?
you can. And she pauses for just a moment, and
Nobody knows you here but us.
We are far away from the Lorendi Imperium.
just quickly, I'm just going to do an insight check, but it's basically, I'm just saying it. I'm not actually going to roll.
Okay.
It's more, she's wanting to make sure that they're telling the truth.
Sure. You can make an insight check.
Oh, okay. Well, now you say that.
No, I just. You certainly have the ability to, because they're lying. No, because
I don't think they're lying, but it never hurts to be.
We're
sure.
actually cannibals.
Yeah. I could see you actually. I thought you were reaching through your mind for nicknames. I'm Crow Gold. No.
Let's see.
So what? 14 plus anything?
14. Let me see. I said inside, right?
Yes.
I think 3. 14 was 3.
So 17. So
17.
yeah, I mean, it sounds, for two reasons, Raven, you're inclined to believe that they're telling you the truth. The first is that you're not understanding what the tactical advantage is of summoning you to a room where you fight a wave of water with this other random like you're just not, this is not what the Lorendi do, right? Like the Lorendi don't, if there's the one thing about the Lorendi is they're predictable. They're very organized and they don't do weird stuff like this.
Yeah.
And the second reason is that you did see them just try to save a big wolf, which even now is sort of growling as Knowles goes over to it. And that doesn't make sense to you. It sounds to you like they're likely to be telling the truth. I mean, or at least some of it.
Well, okay. Well, I am Raven Gullinar, and I am a Lorendi. Does
Yeah.
that make any sense to you?
The Raven Gullinar part does. I'm not sure about the Lorendi, but you can fill in those details. I am Nalik, but everybody calls me Knowles. Knowles Darkly.
I'm Sitaria Bourbon. Was Fob a healer? Was I somehow meant to replace them?
No.
Bob was anti-healing most of the
Yes.
time.
Bob was a herder.
Usually against their will, they were very good at it.
Jiraxis will gesture to where the cloud of daggers was, and he'll create a little hologram of the cloud of daggers and say, "This was Fob's specialty."
Oh, okay.
So, actually, the weird holographic dagger you summoned actually fits right in.
Oh, that it was a spiritual weapon. I mean, it's part of my.
Oh, the two of you. I'll gesture between Nalik and Sitaria. Yep, that sounds like your sort of thing, Nalik.
Well, perhaps that's why you could see me through the dream. What were you doing before you got here?
Studying. I'm working to get my project ready in healing, and she goes off. Like, I won't do the whole little thing, but like far more details come just flowing out of her mouth than you want.
So you were opening up your mind, and I am very well acquainted with that area and that school.
Well,
Oh,
that means you're from here, this world.
yes.
Oh, you're not that far from home then. I
Oh.
mean, you're across the world, but not that far from. Well, for us, it's a bit different. I point over at Raven.
I mean, I guess by the time I get home, I could probably get course credit for it. That's not too bad.
Surely.
The wolf, will is it okay if I touch
Well,
to do more heating?
wait a minute. Let me ask him first.
That's up to him.
So I'm going to cast speak to animals.
Okay.
Speak with animals, sorry. And I'm going to very quickly fill Gamork in on what's happening. And also ask if Sitaria can, I'll put it this way, Gamork, so we have some new companions, it seems.
So I see.
Sitaria here healed you several times while we were dealing with that elemental.
Looks at you, Sitaria, so all you hear is, and then like the wolf looking at you.
Now, she wants to pet you, and I know that is not your thing, and I won't even ask, but, would you, like to smell her hand?
What happened to the other two?
We're trying to figure that out. It is very worrisome indeed.
Perhaps something here is trying to deceive you, and this is the result. You are always too trusting.
These two, you think?
One looks the same to me as another. If it is true that that one sort of like jerks his head in Zatara's direction, healed me, then...
Well, why don't you give her a sniff and see if she meets your approval?
And Gamork looks up at you and tilts his head, reminding you for a moment of a slightly curious dog, and walks past you and strides up to, again, very large wolf, strides up to Sataria, and Sataria sort of like... This one's from elsewhere. Somewhere else on the planet. And, of course, you don't hear that story other than just... but Knowles, you hear that. And says, smells like something of an elf.
Well, he pegged you down in one. I wouldn't pet him, though. He's kind of friendly once he gets to know you.
Well, it takes more effort to heal without touching. So I need to touch to do more healing.
Well, I could heal him, but it would probably be better if you did it and gained some trust.
So she's gonna...
Would you like for me to inquire first? You might
she
lose
starts
your
reaching
hand.
and she's like, wait, yes, that.
You might lose your hand. Gamork, this elf from elsewhere, her name is Sataria. She would like to heal you, but she needs to make contact.
Have you not been betrayed by elves for the last week in this shadow-cursed place?
This elf has been cursed by being placed here.
The first true thing you've said. And then
we have shared many a true thing between each other, Gamork. Don't be so grumpy.
Gamork sort of growls slightly, but in a slightly lighter tone, and then nods and says, "Proceed." Which you hear as
you can heal him.
Well, she doesn't have a bedside manner with animals either. There's no sort of like, oh, this
So
is
just
very
pow,
calming.
pow,
Gamork would probably prefer that.
It's true.
Heal.
Okay. It's sort of like sort of slightly flinches when you hit the top of its head. Okay, how much do you heal Gamork for?
Well, I got one left, so let's do that.
Whoa.
Wow.
Ooh. Rolled
Damn.
well. 15.
Okay. So you like kind of flinches and then sort of feels and then sort of pulls back a little bit and this one has some power. Be careful. And then sort of looks back. Tell the elf I will not rip out its throat today.
He appreciates it, and he will not cause you great harm today, he says.
Thanks.
And then Gamork backs up. Jaraxxus, I'd like you to make a perception check for me while you're standing there.
My pleasure. You'll know that I'm very perceptive. You see, I started saying that sentence expecting that my +2 would not be very good, but
it worked. When you look back over to the left into the water, Jaraxxus, as your sort of like visor is scanning around getting B-roll film, right? You see at the back here there is something glinting in the water.
Well, don't tempt me with a good time. I'll walk over and inspect it.
So because the water is considerably less deep now that the creature that made up a lot of it is spread out among multiple puddles. And when you come in, you can see that at the bottom of this thing is a gleaming golden, I beg your pardon, not golden, gleaming silver ring that is half buried in the dirt. Seems to, like the sand at the bottom here, seems to have been disturbed with all of the fighting. And just before you decide what you want to do with that, I should mention everybody that in this chamber there are these decorative arches that run along the chamber's vaulted ceiling. and there are glowing runes and markings that line various sections of the walls that are casting an eerie glow about the area, and some stone and rubble scattered about the floor as well. And you already know about the deal that happened with the water. I know that for Sataria and Raven, you don't know what the hell this place is other than just we're below the surface of it, but just so you know, that's what you see. Raven, the sort of glowing stuff reminds you of lights that you would have seen on the ship. Sataria, these glowing things look like runes to you. Okay, and so Draxus, there's this ring.
I will kneel down and pick it up, and I have an ability called I know what rings do. And
called what? Tell me ring.
Tell me ring. I have an ability called Analyze Device. It says you discover all commands, workings, and electronic or mechanical functions of an automaton, construct, device, machine, or vehicle. That's the closest thing I got. Does this thing give off like a magical glow, or is it just glinting like normal jewelry?
Hard to say. It's just glinting, you think.
Okay.
Jaraxis, what did you find over there?
A ring. I can't tell if it's special or something. I'll walk over and give it to you.
Can I, like, use an Arcana check to see what's going on with it?
To maybe know if it would have the kind of sort of magical qualities, not what it actually is, if it has any magic, but you could see if it has anything that might make it seem like a magic ring. Sure.
Okay. That's not going to do anything.
Let's see, what do we had? Hard to say. I mean, it looks like a very well preserved, some kind of titanium / silvery metal.
Titanium.
You're from this planet, too. Maybe you can take a look at it, Sataria.
Does it seem like titanium to you?
I mean, I only that's not what I study, but mechanically, I can only do like Arcana or something else. So, is it worth me rolling that?
You could try to get a sense if it's familiar to you as like something that might have magical qualities, whether it is magic or not.
16.
It could be. The fact that it's been sitting in water and doesn't seem to be affected at all is indicative of something maybe a little bit different.
Sure.
So maybe it could be. It's very plain band, but it is, shining and reflecting the light from around the room.
Is there anything written on is there any inscription on the inside of the band?
There is not.
There's nothing engraved on it at all.
Not that you can see.
Well, why don't you hang on to it until we figure out if it does anything? Well.
I will do that then.
Just putting it in a bag, Knowles, or something like that?
Yeah, put it in a bag.
Got it. Okay.
We were in the middle of trying to help some elves that live down here. They don't look anything like you, and then, in fact, you don't look, well, anyway, about as much difference between us two, I would say. I'd point over at the Eldori Raven. Anyway.
Lorendi.
Oh, well.
I am not Eldori.
Well, Eldori is the
That's
species.
here. I'm not Eldori.
Mm.
I'm Lorendi.
And Jaraxus will narrow his eyes and say, "What? No, it's your species. I am Dendus. You are Eldor. Or Lorendi is the Empire, but..."
Well, no, I'm Lorendi, and I am nothing like the Eldori. So let's get that straight. That said, I am kind of running from Lorendi, because stuff happened that I can't tell you right now.
And I whispered to Gamork, "What do you make of the other one?"
And sort of tilts, kind of his head slightly and says, Smells like something running. Prey, maybe. Prey that turns back and becomes a predator.
Well,
My favorite kind.
mine too. Should be fun to play with. We'll, keep an eye on it.
Gamork nods. And as the four of you look at each other with Gamork standing there, the doors, which have been like kind of opening and closing and opening and closing, at a certain point, the doors sort of slide open. And let me just make sure that I have my sure that I came correct with my maps. 1 second, bear with me. Where are you? There you are. Okay. And the doors slide open, and from somewhere out, either in the hallway here, or maybe down further, like over there, you hear a very loud and echoing beep, 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 beep. And that's where we're going to end our session for the evening. So, lovely stuff. Very good stuff. Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful first session. Well, not a first session, but a relaunched session, let us call it. I am super excited to see what these folks get up to. And I really enjoyed getting just the initial sense of how the party might identify with each other, some connections based upon certain things. We will see how much that continues now that everyone's introduced each other a little bit. We'll get a sense to see how these things work. I also was enjoying the healing a wolf that doesn't want to be healed or something, or doesn't know if it wants to be healed. That was fun also. And I was cracking up at the idea of like, finally, and someone knows who I am, like the Jiraxis like influencer thing with Raven. Also, it'll be very interesting to talk a little bit about the Eldori Lorendi difference, because it's true that the Lorendi would see themselves as quite different, although Raven also is not like in with the Lorendi for reasons that, as will be discussed later maybe. But anyway, so that was a lot of fun to watch. I will start with, I'll go in reverse order, so I'll start, Zach, with you. I really enjoyed watching Jiraxis again. That influencer thing was cracking me up. And you, like everyone else today, was kicking some ass on the rolls today. Other than that one damage roll, everything was like zap, 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 boom, zap. I mean, you were like walloping this water elemental, so that was interesting to see. And now you have a weird ring too. How'd you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks see you next?
Yeah, today's session was great. It's great to be back into the swing of things with these characters and with new characters. And yeah, I'm very excited and interested in our the new members of our party that we have, and how the dynamic will shift and change there. Yeah, very interesting. And I really liked the vignettes for both characters at the start. Some great jamming there, and also the players playing off of it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to now digging into this, and we're, no better place to form the party bonds that are necessary than in the middle of a dungeon. So
yeah.
That'll take us through it. So people will find me here for this, for our next session next month, hopefully. And then also for our vocalists, which is the show that I've been a part of for many years now on this channel, where we voice text-based video games. And we're going to be doing this next month, though, the Christmas Carol. The annual
Christmas Carol. Let's go.
Reading,
yep.
Which will be a lot of fun. You'll also find me and Greg on our show Gen GMs, which is a podcast show that you can find on YouTube and the other social media platforms, where we talk about GMing from the perspective and differences of two different generations. And then you will find me on social media in various places. I have other things coming up. I'm probably forgetting something. Oh, I'm a part of, the last thing I'll mention is that I'm on the Pod by Night channel right now in the midst of a Fallout campaign. I play a super mutant. If you're familiar with Fallout, I'm an 8-foot tall, somewhat dim-witted green mutant guy with the most strength out of anyone in the party, and my character's name is Big Business, and he wears a suit that is way too small for him, and his weapon of choice is a briefcase filled with rocks. And if you like that, then come see Big Business at the Pod by Night, which is every Saturday we record and do that, with the exception of today. And yeah, you can check that out at Pod by Night and in other places. But yeah, tonight was great. Looking forward to next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Good stuff tonight. Very good stuff as well. As I move up, again, I'm doing this vertically. Normally I would do the other way. To Toya, good stuff from Knowles. Knowles has, as it turns out, a connection to both Sataria and Raven for different reasons. And that will be sort of explicated throughout the course of play as the players deem fit. But it was interesting to see that. And I like the early on being like, so about the staff, like of all people to just be like, I think Drew said that he missed Null's coolness, and I agree. Like just Null's being like, hey, you know, I know you, I don't know why you're here, but there's a thing that's fighting. You're going to have to fight too, is just very, very Knowles. I think that whole approach, and figuring out things through dreams is going to be interesting also, especially with the disappearance of two regular companions. So there's a lot to sort of think about with all that. Plus, as always, great stuff with Gamork too, Knowles. How did you feel about today's session, Toya? And where will the fine folks find you next?
Yes, I also very much enjoyed the two vignettes at the beginning as we got to know both Sataria and Raven. And I love how very different both Sataria and Raven's personalities are, and that they're very different personalities in the party. And that we have kind of like it's kind of funny that Sataria is kind of bubbly and engaging, but also has terrible bedside manners. It's like these wonderfully contradictory traits. Yeah. And I also really like that Raven is not trusting, because I remember when we started, one of the things that I did not know this, but like I was just also just kind of going up to everybody and getting to know them and stuff like that. And apparently that's not the norm. That usually people distrust each other. So it's interesting that we have somebody who is on the run. We don't know why yet, and is not quite trusting of each other yet. And I do love the fact that Gamork has his own assessment of both of them. And just Gamork is amazing anyway. So I'm glad that Gamork, you know, continues to contribute, and I'm very interested in seeing how Sataria and Raven develop their relationship with Gamork. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how things are going to be progressing. You can find me here on this here channel, and I ain't going nowhere pretty soon, so, you know.
Good stuff as always, Toya. And yes, definitely get also Toya's various stuff, especially on game design and narrative design work and stuff like that. Toya is good people and good player. Thank you, Toya. It's always a pleasure. Moving down to the new folks. LaShawn, it was, again, great to have you on board with Raven. I really enjoyed seeing how you were interacting with the folks in the skeleton crew, maybe the somewhat aptly named skeleton crew, and then getting sucked into this new world. And you were very definitive about like what you are. You're a Lorendi. Also, you're kind of on the run from Rolendi. Can't talk about why yet. Blah blah blah. So you were sort of very definitive in the way all that was going to work. And I love the idea that your first reaction was not like, all right, I'm going to go run in and help these people, but was to pull out your energy staff and be like, who the hell are you? Like, why am I here? Who are you? What did you do? And all that kind of good stuff. So that was fun to see that play out. And I am curious to see how you're going to react to, yes, Gamork, but to the rest of the party, and to being, ripped from something very different from where you were to end up where you are now. That's going to be very interesting to me to see sort of take place. How did you feel about today's session, LaShawn? Where will the lovely folks find you next on these here internets?
This was fun. It's been a while since I've done an RPG, and playing this game, it's like the last character that I played was an actual D&D character, and she was bubbly and she was snarky, but she was also fun. And so this role is definitely a lot different. Mm-hmm. I did not intend it to be that way, but as the characters started coming together, it's like, oh, this is fun. This is new. And yes, I'm trying to I am trying to pull in. Yeah, I never played a character like this before. So
Cool.
it's like, and I say that with multiple layers, which you will find more about as, once the game really gets going. But I am looking forward to it, and yeah, it's fun, and people can find me here, but also they'll find me. I'm on Blue Sky under T-Bone Jenkins. You can find me also on Facebook, and you can find me. Basically, I also have a newsletter, a Substack at wannock.substack.com. So yeah, I'm over the place. You can find me anywhere.
Thank you, LaShawn. Great stuff tonight, and we have updated commands. Thank you, Triffid, as always. So !Peaks Crew will get you all of the social media for all the players, including the new folks, and Peaks Cares, PeaksChars, will show you their characters as we know them at the moment. So thank you, LaShawn. Really great to have you on board with this. And last but certainly not least, Rhiannon, great to have you on board as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed also the sort of the bedside manner thing cracked me up because I didn't know, obviously, what you were going to be looking at to be studying. You're like, this is what I'm studying. I'm like, all right, well, that's books on bedside manner is what we're going to be looking at in this protectorate thing. But I loved the sort of reaction that you had. Seemed very appropriate for what you described Satari as being, which is you're like, that seems like a problem. Let me go talk to them. Then I'm like, well, okay, maybe I'll just try to focus on what I'm doing. Then I'm like, well, maybe I can't do that. And eventually you're just like, now I'm just going to curl up in a fetal position because I have no idea what else to do. That was all really funny. And then some of the heals, like the sort of distance heals, no joke, like Gamork would have been not, I mean, I don't know whether he would have died, but he would have been knocked out if not for some of the heals that you put in while he was tanking that water elemental. So that was important as well. How did you feel about today, Rhiannon? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
I mean, I had a ton of fun because I've never done sort of a healing character before. Cleric magic isn't that interesting to me, but it's a sorcerer. So that was a lot of fun. And I really loved the connections to everybody. The seeing Nalik in the dream and people recognizing each other and already having that rather than sort of two strangers coming in and not having the connections yet. I was super impressed with that. So people can find me, check out my books, the Silver series, under Rhiannon Held. I like to call it Anthropological Werewolves. I thought about their history and culture. And then Space Opera under RZ Held. The Amsterdam Institute series, those are novellas if you want to try something short. And that also has the sort of culture through the, bigger planetary sort of thing. And then to come talk to me, I am part of the Dungeon Scrawlers channel, which is authors playing D&D. And we share a Discord with the Writing About Dragons and Shit podcast, which is about writing science fiction and fantasy.
Dragons and shit, yeah.
Dragons and shit.
So it's a great place. A lot of writers of varying levels and all helping each other out. And I'm on there all the time. So join us, give that a try. And you can watch me on the Dungeon Scrawlers channel. The Isekai Realms game is Mondays at 6:30 Pacific.
Awesome stuff. Thank you to Rhiannon and to LaShawn. I'm very excited to have them be a part of the crew. This is going to be great. You will see these folks once next month in this campaign, and then starting in January, I hope that we'll be ramping up to 2 sessions a month is the plan. Also, we will normally try to stay to 3 hours and not a little longer, but we did have to introduce 2 people and get a bunch of people together. So, but I'm going to send them off now with thanks. Chat, can we get some love for the awesome newly assembled crew of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks? Thank you so much to Rhiannon Held, to LaShawn M. Wannock, to Toya Kristen Finley, and to Zach Clay. Great work, crew, tonight, and we will see you down the line. Bye for now.
Thanks, everybody.
All righty. Great stuff. I really missed this campaign when we had to take a little bit of time off from it. It was it's just a very different experience than other campaigns because of the nature of the world. And every one of my campaigns is, and I mean this, like, it's not like I can't choose among my children. It's not anything like that. It's just that, you know, it has, each one has its own sort of strength, and its own thing that I really appreciate. And about this, it's sort of the different experience of everyone coming together. And I really, really liked the way that everyone already has started connecting with each other. A lot of them knew each other in some capacity as people, you know, as real life people. But then, and good work to Toya and Zach as well as the veterans, so to speak, of rolling with the punches, because I had informed them we were going to do these little vignettes to kind of to sort of bring these people, Rhiannon and LaShawn's characters into the mix. And so I think they did that very nicely. So yeah, I am excited to see how that is all going to kind of roll out over time. It's going to be great. As for, and again, more of that coming next week. Next month, we will have one of these sessions next month with Eberron with 2 sessions. And then the month after that, hopefully we're going to start ramping up into 2 sessions a month for Expedition and 2 sessions for Eberron. At least that is the plan. But otherwise, that is going to do it for the month of November. I do have to say that I was very, very tempted, and I remain tempted. I was very tempted to play more Dark Sun after the session tonight, because I was like, I had such fun with it yesterday that I was like, well, my daughter's away for the evening. My wife's asleep with my son. So I was like, I wonder if I could, because next week I got to get back to school. So I'm very tempted. I'm trying to play it through. I was up too late last night, but I was like, you know, I'm tempted, Emily. I'm tempted. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I was just tempted. Because, you know, I was like, I know it's 11. Yeah, I suppose it's not the most sensible thing. I mean, it is a Saturday, so I can sleep in. But no, I probably should. I've got some stuff to do. Am I an old man or a gamer? Oh, you're saying I should do it? Oh. All right, I have a question. I have a question. So for those of you, obviously, if you're here just for the tabletop play, are folks who you were encouraging. Okay. I misunderstood initially. I see. What are you, 50? No, I'm not 50. That's not the number that I'm at right now, he said. I do have to say, by the way, totally different from this. I watched today an interview with Jonathan Frakes and Jonathan, oh God, what's his name? He played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and there's a the podcast is called like the Inside something or other, but he's interviewed a bunch of the Star Trek folks, including Will Wheaton and Gates McFadden, and he interviewed Jonathan Frakes. It was a really interesting, like a really cool interview, really neat conversation. But I mention it because I found out that he's my age, that guy. Do you know who I'm talking about, Dragonspear? The guy that I'm talking about? The guy who plays, I don't remember the name of the interviewer. I should remember this, but again, he's an actor originally, but yeah, he was a good interview. I like that. He was really good. But Frakes was really interesting. Anyway, the guy who's the interviewer is my age. He's actually a couple of months older than me, but Frakes, is 72 now. And the dude looks like maybe 3 to 4 years older than me. Yeah, Michael Rosenbaum. That's it. Thanks, Triffid. Yeah, he looked like Frakes. Frakes just looks like he's got the beard and whatever, and you know so yeah, he's got that. So that's the deal. You have a few hours left on your age. Tuesday. Okay, I was gonna say. Okay. So, because I was like, wait, today? I was like, okay, yeah. All right. So I don't, because I was about to be like, wait, that wasn't, yeah. But anyway, I recommend that. And I mentioned it because it was reminding me of like ages. And I was like, wow, like there's an example of this guy, a couple months older than me, this other guy, 22 years older than me or 21 years older than me or whatever. And I'm like, all right, you know, so that made me, it made me feel reasonably good that people are in their own sort of people age at their own rates. Maybe that's a good way to put it. So yeah. You're just feeling the turning of the year in weird ways this week. Yeah. All right. Well, then you know what? What the hell? It's 11 o'clock. Let's play for an hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording though, because I want to upload this video separately. So thank you for those of you who are watching Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. More to come. So let me do that. I'm going to say goodbye to all of those folks now.